Really? You wait until I literally push the start streaming button to come tell me that you need to go outside? Is that what we're doing here? Okay, then I guess we're just starting with Miles. I guess it's just the Miles show because the second that I hit start streaming, he was in there like swimwear. Mm. You can, yeah, I literally just tried to angle the camera a little bit more today in hopes that we could potentially see more my guys. And look, we can! A success! Okay, before I let you out and get all muddy, let's do this. All right. I was asking for a hug. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Okay, he is an eager beaver, though. But while I'm up here, remember, if you join my Patreon, this is the design that you will be getting. Depending on your tier, you may get a different version of apparel or signage sticker of some kind. But this is the t-shirt. It's super soft. Comes in like a nice purpley dark leather. It says equal shared parenting, healthier relationships, because that's what we talk about on this channel. And then it says the Dadvocate. So shameless plug, because my Patreon, all members blue belt and up, are 25% off for the whole rest of the month with code Irish. Just something for you to noodle on. I have to run my dog outside really quick. Don't I, Miles? Does mommy need to take you outside? Yeah. Okay. I will be right back. All right. You guys get your coffee, get your tea, get all that good stuff. We'll jump right into it. Until Miles needs to come back inside. What are you doing? Jump down from the rafters, okay? All right. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me once again on this beautiful day. Let the light adjust there real quick. Wow, I really left you guys in like spooky darkness. But some quick housekeeping before we get in. The first thing I like to tell people about these streams is that I try to keep them audio only friendly. So this is something that you should be able to keep listening to, whether you are loading up boxes at the factory at work, taking your dog for a walk, or lifting things at the gym. While we do respond to plenty of visual stimulus during this live stream, I will do my best to just verbally describe everything going on screen so that you don't have to feel like you have to be glued to your screen to enjoy this live stream. So that's just something that I like to tell everybody about these streams. Kind of, I know that there's a specific audience. If you're like me, those are the magic words that will like keep you coming back, because I'm the kind of person where it's like, I got so much to do. Okay, if you could just tell me what's happening, I would appreciate that. And I got you. Christine Jones, thank you so much for being the first, I believe, I had to scroll real quick in case I missed something, the first to demonstrate how the super chat function works. If you're on Twitch, those show up. If you're on Facebook, stars show up. But your best bet at me reading your comment, 100% for sure, is through a YouTube super chat. They just keep it nice and organized and itemized for me. So even if I can't read it in the moment that it appears on screen, I'm always able to go back and read it at some point, pausing in our story, article, whatever we are in the middle of to get to it. So Christine, thank you so much for the generous 20. It says, hola. Hola to you too. So good to see you again. Justin Capone, thank you so much for your super chat. Says, hi Lauren, it's my birthday. Can I get a boop? Of course you can get a birthday boop. And I'm sure the chat's about to explode because my chat is so adorable. Whenever it's somebody's birthday or they like make a baby or like something big happens, the chat just like goes nuts. So yeah, Justin, they're gonna be like whoop whooping for you. There we go. There's my awesome audience wishing Justin a happy birthday. We love to see it. Also, at some point in the semi-near future, we are going to be interrupted with a bork bork because, as you know, Miles has just been let outside, and Miles is more important than all of you. I love you, but I think we all know Miles takes the cake. Anyway, listen, let's just get right into it, okay? Because it's gonna be a quote unquote shorter stream today, meaning it'll only be maybe 2 to 2.5 hours. You guys know though, I've been known to yap for an entire half day's worth. But no, it'll be on the shorter side. I've been doing so much work to the house, so much things to be done in the early afternoon. But I'm going to cover as much of this as I can. I think that's going to be a decent amount of time to be able to cover all of this, though. So today's theme of the stream is, are we dating the same guy groups? So if you are completely unfamiliar with these, this is a trend of private and sometimes public-facing groups called Are We Dating the Same Guy? It was originally started, believed to be, by a woman named Paula Sanchez, who is allegedly a young woman who had women's safety in mind when she created the first Facebook group. She's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. We might have time to explore more of the Paula background. There's a lot of conspiracies around this woman, like, does she even exist? Is she really a man who's just catfishing as a woman? Many questions about who the original creator of this is. But whoever it was, whether she fully exists or not, what we do know is that these groups have taken off to the point where almost every single area has a regional version of the group. We'll do a quick cursory scroll through. Audio only, gang, you'll just kind of like have to believe me that we're looking at stuff, I guess. But we can see this is kind of giving like more of my coordinates. It's based around me. My local group has like close to 12K members each group. There's the broader group that seems to be just completely public, I guess. This has 387,000, but as it explores, there's like many local groups actually. Calhoun County. I know that there's like some Detroit ones, but you can see South Carolina's got one. Let's see, Indiana's got one. There's the Detroit, Ann Arbor, Northern Peninsula, Michigan. Now, there's just not a lot of people living up there, so that's why it's a smaller population. But yeah, if you go ahead and search for yours, you are going to end up finding your local Are We Dating the Same Guy group. And essentially, the platform of these groups, I'm not going to directly go into them just because I know that if you join, you're supposed to agree to certain terms and conditions that you will not take screenshots or anything like that. So I don't need to tie my hands up and anything like that. But there are other groups such as Are We Dating the Same Guy Exposed and Victims of Are We Dating the Same Guy that have taken screenshots, so we can absolutely look at those pages. That's their liability. That's not on our hands whatsoever because we did not agree to anything at that point. So we'll explore some of those. But to give you an idea of what these groups look like, the general style that I have personally seen is the structure usually goes, a person will post a photograph and a name. Sometimes it's just the first name and an initial. Sometimes it's only initials. Sometimes they don't post a name. The groups are pretty flexible about this, but there's really not very often any rules saying you can't post a name at all. Most of these groups, for liability purposes, clearly state that you are not required to post anything. That way, if there were to be lawsuits, spoiler alert, there have indeed been lawsuits. The group mods and creators themselves would not be to blame because they did not make these people incriminate themselves, essentially. And after they post the picture, the name, usually the structure has two key emojis: the red flag emoji and then the cup of tea emoji, followed by a question mark. And what this means is the women are asking, are there any red flags or is there any tea on this guy? So I will admit there have been many times that it seems women have dodged bullets in this fashion. I have seen some posts where a woman is like, hey, I've been dating this guy for going on 6 months, but something feels kind of off. And then like three other girls are like, wow, I've been dating this guy for 3 months. And then another girl is like, he was literally just in my DMs trying to get me to hook up with him. And they all get to find out collectively that their man is kind of a hoe, right? So sometimes I have seen these groups work out the exact way that they are intended. But the question that we all have to ask is, are they moderated well enough to make sure that there's no additional harm being done? And this is where this stream is going to examine what I call the dark underbelly of the Are We Dating the Same Guy groups, because there's a lot more going on behind this curtain than just keeping women safe. I'm talking things like we've got slander, libel, death threats, stalking, unaliving, and even straight up homicide on the agenda revolving this world of Are We Dating the Same Guy today. There's going to be a lot to examine here, and you can ultimately draw your own conclusions. We'll also discuss, potential resolutions for this issue. Basically, fellas, you can consider this another version of free birth control too, if you want to take it that way, because I know you guys have just been chomping at the bit, hoping for some new reasons to just never ever go on dates and avoid the dating world altogether. Unfortunately, if you were hoping for more optimism, look, me and TJ will try to provide as much as I can, but since TJ isn't here, this is mostly going to be a birth control stream, because it's dangerous out there. Let's just jump right into it. Like I said, I showed you guys a cursory scroll of what these groups look like. You may be asking, well, is there like a girl version of these groups? And I will say I did find one version. It's not even really worth showing off. There is the occasional guy actually posting a girl and asking for any feelers. No one ever responds. Pretty much this is like not even an echo chamber, because very usually it's just people kind of yelling into the void without much support toward this mission. And then all of the other posts are just kind of boys being boys locker room like talk, where it's like, women sure be like this, huh? And then some guys are like, haha, yeah. Basically a bunch of traumatized dudes with trust issues, kind of riffing with each other, but not a lot of work getting done in these groups. The Are We Dating the Same Guy groups, though, this is where we can kind of examine some different trends in the behaviors here. Not that guys can't be scumbags. I think we're all aware that men have the propensity to be massive scumbags. But, well, wouldn't you know it, anything men can do, women sure can do just as well. Let's get into some examples, right? So let me just pull up one example of things that we'll see within the group, okay? Let me scooch this over a little bit. So this was a post made to one of the Are We Dating the Same Guy groups. And so as you can see, I didn't want to have to post somebody, I would have tried, maybe when I edit this, I'll fully blur his face, but it'll say, Are we dating the same guy? He is a trucker and mostly goes to Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, Kansas, Illinois, Wisconsin, and then completely doxes his company name here. Okay, now if we go to the comments, I'm going to go ahead and open these up. Is anyone actually helping? Well, it's mostly just women insulting this man's physical appearance, saying, "Oh no, we wouldn't touch him. Gross. Looks 400 pounds, has no upper teeth." It's just a bunch of body shaming. Bet it smells like a hot turtle tank in there. Um, Literally no reason for us to believe that this trucker, who happens to be on the road a lot, that's what the job entails, is at all cheating on this woman. But she loves him so much that she signed him up to just be absolutely ridiculed publicly online by dozens of anonymous strangers. And it's, I don't have much empathy for the woman who posted this right now, but it's also like, I can't imagine that by the end of this, any of it made her feel great. I can't really think of how many times you walk away from a post like this having feeling accomplished and like you achieved something, because even when you're being grossly encouraged that he is not cheating, it's still not making you feel great because they're all talking mad shit about the dude you chose and were so confidently worried about. Like, that can't be a very good feeling at that point. Okay? And then there's also the spam bots, too, typically. I mean, look, are there truckers who cheat on their wives? Yes. Can I understand why a person thinking I'm going to post to one of the broader groups that's not just tied down to one state to really cover my tracks? Can I see why someone might get to a point like that, especially if he's making them suspicious? I suppose, yeah, I can see where someone would feel such a need for a desperation. But as I frequently say on this channel, like, we can't save these hoes. Only God can save these hoes. But we can learn from these hoes, okay? And if you are starting to crash out, spiral, you're getting a little insecurity over something or other, I just want you to know that there is a solid chance that you may walk away with no answers, just a bunch of people bullying the shit out of your potentially completely faithful spouse. All right, we got the Miles bark. We'll cover more of these as soon as I get my dog back. Oh, hello. All right. Miles has returned. He may even come lay down in here with us. Let's keep looking at some more examples here, okay? Luckily, this one is blurred. Shout out Reddit for that one. This one comes from the subreddit that's trying to call this out more consistently. Are we dating the same guy as toxic, essentially? This says, Miami female version of Joe Goldberg wants to know if her match, who she hasn't met yet, is engaging with other women, how the convos are going, and what's being said. So this was one of the first times that I ever realized, oh my God, so people are posting in these groups even if they're not even dating the guy yet. The groups were originally created to find out if two people who are already dating the guy happen to be overlapping. But apparently, people are using it if they're simply interested in a guy. Hold on, I think I also missed a super chat. Let me scroll back up real quick before we read this. Yes, person 65. This is the person who actually originally encouraged me to cover this topic in my emails. Please cover privacy/alternative solutions as well. Do you mean like keeping yourself private or alternative solutions to this approach? Like, you would agree with people trying to do this if they were more private about it? essentially. So this one was posted to the Miami, South Florida area. I'm assuming it was a Reddit that blurred the face, but the original poster may have actually posted the full face. Otherwise, there'd be no point of posting this picture, right? It says, anyone else entertaining K? Please say no. These are some of the comments. Justine says, I've been messaging with him on Hinge today. She said, is it a new connection? She says, yeah, matched today. Matched on Hinge like 4 days ago. She says, any traction? Yeah, these are both questions that someone who is like dating someone, I feel like this would not quite be the questions they would ask. Like, is it a new connection? Any traction? Oh god, this is so cringy that all she did was match with him. And she's like, he better not have matched with anyone else. Oh no, I hate to tell you this, but do you know how dating apps work? It's typically not a one and done, unfortunately. I have him as on a match on Tinder. She says, are you chatting? She says, I've chatted with him, no date set. She asks again a follow-up. Has anyone met with him? Oh no. Rachel says no, but he was wanting to set something up soon. She says, how's the conversation going? Oh my god, this is way too early for this bullshit anonymous member, okay? This is way too soon. Like, I would already be upset if someone was dating me and posting this here, most likely, but we literally just matched and you're already trying to figure out all of your competition. Like, she's speed running anxiety harder than I ever have in my life, and trust me, that is saying something. Like, I too like to, instead of sleeping, mull over every mistake and opportunity I could have done differently. You know, it's just a great fun manual that I just love to flip through at 3 in the morning sometimes. But even I am not willing to subject myself to the anxiety of literally trying to audit every possible social interaction a man ever has throughout his day, when I have just learned of this person's existence. It's only going to get exponentially worse, to the point, like, I already know she has a freezer in her basement just waiting to be filled with a body. Anyway, someone calls her out, says, you haven't even met him and you're on here asking other people what their situation is with him? Girl, he's free to date whoever and how many people he wants until you're committed to each other. She gets really upset and defensive and goes, thanks, Captain Obvious. Appreciate the life lesson. She really said, look at me. Do I look like I want to be sane and reasonable? I have been lost in the delusion sauce. I wear nothing but Delululemon bars. I eat nothing but Delululemon bunt cake. Okay? I am so far from saving. All I want is the intel, okay? If you're not here with the intel, I really don't need therapy, okay? I've been avoiding my therapist's calls for unpaid bills for 6 months. I can ignore you too. Just final slide. But really though, I mean, if she's willing to do this upon first match, I mean, like, do you even understand? Like, a match is so meaningless, I feel like, for guys at this point, because aren't the statistics something like less than 40% of matches even result in a conversation? So it's like a match is really 50-50 if you even end up saying hello to each other or not. Okay? Much less go down an intensive, like, private investigator rabbit hole where you're already trying to find where they work. Who are you talking to? If you are talking, what are you saying? What do his chest muscles look like? Like, it's giving like, not even histrionic, quite frankly. It's just giving like stalker. It's giving 48 hours. Okay, dude, I don't know, man. And the problem with this is it might seem like harmless. You guys might be thinking like, well, this dude clearly has options. He's not deterring, this is not deterring women's interest in him. Everybody seems to be kind of unanimously agreeing that she's being unreasonable. Like, even if with all of these things in mind, could you imagine, like, just finding out that this exists about you? Like, period. For any, under any circumstances, you never even find out who it was that you matched with who posted it. We can safely rule out Rachel and the other girl because they've identified themselves, right? But like, he's got to be, you don't even really know at that point. All you know is that at any point in time, your full face and name could be broadcast to a pretty large, sizable community. I am positive the Miami group has well over 10K people as well. This is potentially... Oh, my camera died. Hold on. I meant to do that before I started filming. I had like a dying battery at the beginning, but I totally forgot. That was my bad, guys. Don't worry, I'm really fast at this. Call me Minuteman, but with camera batteries. But... I mean, everybody's in these groups now. Like your sisters, your cousins, your employers, your mom. Like, I'm a married woman. I know my husband will never show up on these, but I'm definitely part of them for the tea, for the investigation. Okay? Like, even if, like, people just join these groups for fun, and there's literally, like, barely any moderation to give you an idea. Like, spoiler alert, because I know we're supposed to be kind of exploring, is there enough moderation? But to give you an idea, I was able to successfully join about 7 of these communities without even answering the questions. You're supposed to answer, like, comprehension questions before they accept your invite that basically show, like, I'm not a spy, I promise, I really won't do anything wrong, but you don't really have to mean it. Obviously, these people are all agreed to it, and they're still posting screenshots, you know what I mean? But I got approved to all of them without even answering the questions. I'm like, I don't feel like answering these, and they let me in. They were like, well, you look like a woman, so you're probably safe. What? You guys don't know if, like, I have literally been stalking someone for years and years and years, and, like, this is my new way to get proper intel. You guys don't know that, but okay, thanks for letting me in now. So, this next one is definitely not a usual example of one of these posts, but one that I found in the wild, and there are people calling Are We Dating the Same Guy a cult. And I don't know if I'm going to take it that far yet, because people tend to call everything a cult these days. Sometimes that term can be a bit overused, but within every group, there are always people who just take the whole mentality a bit too far. The ones who truly and honestly believe that they are like warriors fighting for all women by just doxing men left and right and body shaming them with literally no proof of wayward behavior whatsoever. But to give you an idea of how degenerate some of them can be, let me read the super chat before. Person 65 says, could you cover privacy and Judith Jarvis Thompson? I don't know if I have anything on Judith Jarvis Thompson. But if we have time, we might get into it. Here's one posted to Are We Dating the Same Guy Seattle? Get a load of this. This mom posts, my son was posted on this site, raised by his dad, don't blame me. My other 2 boys will not be in here. Raised by me. Anyway, I never told my son he was on here. It was his own stupid choices. Get a load of this guy. This mom literally says, yeah, only boys raised by their dads show up on here. Okay, my boys, my innocent, perfect baby angels who have never been poisoned by their father, Okay, they're never going to show up on a website like this. There's so much to unpack here, so many fallacies just all in one spot. Where do I even start? How many red flags do I even count? Okay, I've often talked about the issues with single mothers who, and this is of course not all single mothers, this is a niche category of single mothers who hate their ex so bad that their hatred for their ex is actually stronger than their love for their children. And they have these issues of projecting every bad thing they've ever felt about their ex onto their kids, right? She didn't even warn her own son that he's being posted on here. Again, I can't stress this enough. Simply being posted on Are We Dating the Same Guy is not a concrete proof of guilt. It simply means that someone who is in possibly some way involved with your son, but maybe simply just matched with him on Tinder, is feeling insecure for some reason. That's all we can reasonably gather. But that doesn't prove that your son did anything. But because your ex is the one who gained primary custody of him, you've just given up on ever helping him or having any empathy or care for him at all. You're just content to just throw him to the wolves. Meanwhile, you have the hyper confidence, the Icarus level hubris to say, oh, my children, who you value more than your other biological child for some reason because of custodial issues, I guess. My real children will never be posted here. I just wanted to use this little piece of delusion as something to like keep in mind in the back of your head as we go through like the various different ways innocent ass dudes can end up in these groups. When it comes to preventability, when it comes to, oh, well, do I have a better shot of not being posted here if I was raised by a single mother as opposed to raised by a single dad? I think by the end of this, we'll all probably end up drawing similar conclusions that, no, I don't think that those are predetermining factors whatsoever. I think that the only predetermining factor to whether or not you may end up on an Are We Dating the Same Guy group is, are you a man? And then the other most likely factor is, are there any publicly available photos of you that can be used by literally anybody? Then it can happen to you. Then it can happen to you. Okay? Preventability is one of those topics that I would like to talk about, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I also want to talk about some things that have existed similar to this in the past, but I want to give you some more examples first. This one was crazy. This one was one of the biggest Are We Dating the Same Guy shams of its entire history so far, and it's my understanding that this actually just recently happened. So I found this one actually. This one was originally provided by a group called Are We Slandered by the Same Girl? So there is some combating forces, so to say, going on here, trying to fight back against this Are We Dating the Same Guy machine that is calling this particular post to justice. This reads, what Sierra Nicole attempted to do here is disgusting, and I'm glad it was caught at their level because there's no way or system in place to dispute it. So what happened here is someone named Sierra Nicole posted to Are We Dating the Same Guy with images of an apparent black eye, images of a evident road rash of some kind, as though like her face had been smashed. Like, this looks horrible. And then we also have a very clear picture of an individual, and it says this isn't the first time. This man is horrible. This is another view of the person's profile within the group. This was posted to Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, so local. So if this man is local, she is reaching out to a wide array of his entire community. There's the face again. I'll probably, like I said, I'll probably blur these a bit later because, you know, innocent until proven guilty, right? Got more of the images, but this is where we start to learn a little bit more in the comments. Now, I'm kind of curious, before we read any more, did anybody else just off the dome see anything off about those pictures? I just want to know, anybody who's like more familiar with things than I do, I'm not gonna lie, I looked at that and like I would have bought it hook, line, and sinker. I would have been like, damn, you got destroyed. This is terrible. But this is when I learned a thing or two about the internet today, because we checked these comments. First of all, we've got Adrienne saying, you're stalking him at this point, making filtered pics, claiming he abused you is insane. Those are serious claims that people in this group have actually been through. And so I'm like, wait, filtered pics, but we'll get more in the context. Sierra responds, you got it all wrong. We've been at this for 5 years. This man has beat me numerous times and told him if I went to the police, he would do worse damage. Adrienne says, okay, but why post fake pics? Another girl says, so why did you need the filters? So I was like, wait, what do the girly pops know that I don't know? But if there's anyone who's going to know about filters, it's the girl gang. And this is where the flip starts, or the script starts to flip. This is where the flip starts to script, okay? This is how bad it's getting. Is apparently this is a popular, like, filter. I don't know if it's a Snapchat filter, a TikTok filter. I think someone in the comments ends up saying it's a TikTok filter. Let me know in the chat if you are familiar with this one. I don't frequently use domestic violence filters on my pictures, so this is news to me, but apparently it's like commonly used and everybody knows about it. And when it is filtered like that, it's usually like the same injury. So if you've ever played around with like a bruised filter or something like that, then you would probably know, like, wait a minute, that's the same injury on the bruised filter that was popular like last year or whatever. You know what I mean? A lot of people seem to be cold clocking it, but Sierra insists they weren't fake pictures. Now, people are questioning him. Why are you still with him? Why are you not in jail? Those are questions that I'm not necessarily going to use to like discount anything, because it does take an average of 7 times to leave an ABUSER. Whether you are a man or a woman, there are many factors that can keep you with a person. Like I said, I stayed in a relationship for 9 months after I was literally stabbed in the back. So to be fair, I was very young, but these people could be young too, okay? And why didn't he end up in jail? The police system failed me too. So a lot of people do end up getting away with it for one reason or another, even when you're only 15 years old and they're older than you. Apparently some people can still get away with it. So those aren't things that I'm going to use to immediately dismiss it, but the multiple people cold clocking it as an app filter is looking pretty sus. She said she is trying to get away. I'm hiding literally right now. I'm just imagining her like under a bed. To keep quiet. she's still in the house with him, like posting to "Are we dating the same guy?" instead of calling the authorities. So I shouldn't be laughing at this, because if true, wow, am I a heartless person, okay? She said, you can make assumptions all you want, but I wouldn't be on this page if it wasn't true. Okay, well, there's plenty of people on these pages, which we'll get into, that are not posting the truth. I'm traumatized, and you women have made it worse. Oh boy, what a martyr. Garbo and Callisto. Look, let me write these things down. Hard maybe, my friend. Are these like specific cases of people? I have a couple lawsuits at the end. But thank you for the super chats. Thank you. Yeah, you women are torturing me. Adrienne says, I literally found the filter bruise on TikTok. I want to see if I can find this.
Can you imagine if
Hold up. All right, where are the filters? Can I search? Bruise. It's right there. Hold up. Wait, give it to me. Give me the. Wait, hold on. I gotta show you guys. Here it is. Look. There's the filter. There's me with the exact same injury. Wow. Wow. Let's just compare and contrast. Oh, I will say I've also had tons of road rash and stuff. So like that actually looked kind of believable, but like now that I see it, I'm like, oh, she used a he got you too, Punslinger says. Yeah, dang. I've clearly been the victim of this man as well for 5 whole years. Wow, the filter just got busted. No. Elizabeth says you made it worse by posting fake ass pictures. Ain't no one likes a girl who cried wolf. I do gotta say, you know, Mr. Rogers says, in times of disaster, look for the helpers. And these women, they were like, dude, no. If there's anything women hate more than abusers, it's people who fake abuse because you're making it so much harder for real victims. Shed the bruises on my face were physical punches. My face, my ribs. She said, your eye isn't even swollen. Just curious, why are you trying to figure out his quote-unquote whereabouts if you're so scared of him? Why are you looking for him? Dude, that's my question too. She said, his whereabouts and what's the tea? Looking for him. Has put hands on me one too many times. Here's the thing. There's clear... She could just be looking for quote-unquote street justice when the police fail you, but that's the whole problem is you can't just like try to weaponize people to elicit your street justice if there's no evidence, and if you have to fake evidence. She's trying to get this man his entirely beat. What are you trying to find him for? This is actually really terrifying because it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, I don't like this guy, I think he's ugly. And it's a whole other thing to use a TikTok filter to fake an injury so that you can try and look for a person's whereabouts to find them for unbeknownst reasons. Wow. Yep, so now other people are like, wait, what? They're educating them. I use that filter for a TikTok video. Holy cow. Yeah, the women are not very happy about this. Now other people are using the filter saying, okay, twin. Sierra says, okay, so when I'm on the news dead, you ladies will see. You women are heartless. And then look how crazy this response is. Allegedly, this woman's main fear is for her life. Allegedly, she truly believes that this man will her. Okay? Allegedly, that is her main fear. Right? That said, what does she immediately say to this woman who says, what's his name? And she goes, why? Are you effing him? Now, Girly Pop, why is that a concern to you? What? I don't know, man. If, like, someone's chasing me through the house with, like, a butcher knife, going, like, I'm gonna finish you, I'm not gonna be like, but are you dating anybody? Are you seeing anybody else right now? Are you kidding me? Okay. Try not to give away your whole hand now, Sierra. So now she just further self-incriminates. And oh God, how I hope that this has been submitted to the proper authorities. When Madison says, if he harmed you to the point you wouldn't be looking for him to start a fight, you would be terrified for your life and fearful for those around you that you love. Which I also love that that's such a good point, is women who try to bait you into fighting people for them, no matter how noble they make it sound. You know, they'll be like, but he was such an a-hole to me and he hurt me. Women who are baiting you into putting your life at risk to fight a battle for them, you have to ask yourself, do they really love you? No, really, do they love you? If they are weaponizing you, are they using you as an object or do they love you? Things to consider. How many men have completely lost their life trying to play white knight for some lady over some bullshit drama? Too many. Too many is the answer. C2 to J, so good to see you, says hands doing a fist bump. Actually, that was probably an emoji of hands doing a fist bump. I appreciate it. Fist bump to you too, my homie. Arceon, thank you for the 5, says, you know there are some genetic components to cheating as well. Studies show that there are genes, the code for someone being more likely to cheat. Ooh, what if that starts showing up in like predictive behavioral analysis in those at-home DNA kits? Like when I got my dog DNA tested, they had all these predicators that were like, your dog is more likely to like do cross-paw motions, to lay on his back, to nest, to point, and every single one of them has been completely accurate. I'm like, dang, you guys like nailed my old behaviors. Actually, this is ended up being pretty accurate. That'd be really funny if it was like, so you're pretty Turkish, a lot of Balkan, some Eastern European, some heavy behaviors, alcoholism, cheating. That would be so funny. Anyway, Sierra further clarifies, my people are. I'm not. Yeah, don't worry. I'm going to be sitting on my ass doing nothing while I put other people's lives at risk. Don't worry. She's got people looking for him but can't call the police. Seems suspect. Like, what's going to happen when someone literally sends him your post? Your life won't be at risk then, I guess. Clay, where are the admins at? Yep, the heavy moderated groups. These groups that claim to be so well protected. Yeah, more people just talking about it. Some people are actually trying to stick up for her, which is crazy. A lot of people yelling at her. I'm trying to figure out if there was anything else. Just a lot of infighting, especially. But wow. Using a filter to fake that you have been beat up so that your people can go find him and probably not ask him if he wants to go play golf. I'll tell you that. Probably not go have a civil and fair conversation. I can tell you that. Good God. And it keeps getting worse. Don't worry. There's more of this. All right. Oh, PK, thank you for the very generous dono. Super chat. Thank you for spreading the word. These need to be shut down. Yeah, I really hope that people start paying attention to these. Because here's the thing. This is probably a good transition to get into things like this that have existed in the past. So there actually is a predecessor to Are We Dating the Same Guy? And it was an app called Lulu. You may have also known it as Lulu Vis, but this is an app that I remember very well because when did it officially, here we go. In 2015, the app moved away from Facebook. It used to just be a Facebook app, and then it became an actual, like a real app. But essentially, the function of Lulu was you could only be a woman to join. Very similar to these groups. And there was like kind of a brief vetting process. You had to be connected to some kind of social media where your gender was listed as female. Very obviously easy to break through if you were not a female, but you wanted to see what was going on inside. And within this app, you could link any other man's social media to the app. You just look him up through their search functions, link his social media, and then you can begin reviewing, right? And you can say whatever you want. Men were linked with like hashtags. So it'd be like, overly flirty, cheater, different hashtags. I think the funniest one that I ever saw was when it first started. I was like looking up to see who was on there. I was so curious. And I did find a good few guys that I knew. I remember one guy that I knew was on there actually had pretty decent reviews, but one of his hashtags was only eats salad. And I just thought that was so funny and memorable. I just forever remember him as the only eats salad guy. But people were pretty harsh on there. So any man during the period of this app, you could just look him up and they would find all of his social medias for you, all of these anonymous reviews. There were star ratings, trustworthiness ratings. Like it was a pretty in-depth system, right? To give you an idea of what this Wikipedia article says about it, Lulu describes itself as a private network for girls to express and share their opinions openly and honestly about the weaknesses and strengths of the manners, appearances, spending habits, and career ambitions of their male acquaintances. The company's expansion of its user base focuses heavily on recruiting undergraduate members of American all-female sororities, which commentators describe as reflected in the app's linguistic and visual design, which is visibly influenced by U.S. sorority culture. The app has been highly controversial, and the functionalities offered by the app are frequently described negatively in the popular press as sexist and objectifying, non-consensual, and shallow and mean. Although female users cannot write their own comments to avoid bullying, the company's harshest critic that the pre-selected terms used within the app for evaluations in the form of hashtags are instrumental in reinforcing completely horrible stereotypes, accuse the site of tolerating a sexist double standard, and liken the candor for which the app aims to form of public harassment. The company's founder, Alexandra Chong, refers to the app's functionalities as provocative and groundbreaking, and the website holds that the multiple choice nature of evaluations creates a safe and positive place for girls and guys. It was sold in 2016 and discontinued sometime later. So it's my understanding that the reason that the app finally went down had nothing actually to do with the fact that people were so opposed to it. They were, but no one really seemed to care. The issue seemed to be that it was not generating enough profit. And this is the scary thing, is you think about websites like Ashley Madison, which is a dating app specifically for cheaters. The tagline is, life is short, have an affair. Okay? This app received so much hatred that anonymous hackers broke into it, exposed every single user's data, ruined so many lives, and is still active to this day because it's profitable. The problem was that Lulu was not profitable. What they should have done was monetize it, which would have opened up, possibly even more legal loopholes when it comes to the lack of consent. But the app was never involved in any lawsuits. They were never sued. They just, I guess, didn't generate enough profit. But these Facebook groups, apparently, like, these women who are willing to run them and take on any potential risk are like the Discord mods of the world, because they have not been deterred. They will continue to run these. Protect the Rep, thank you so much for your dono, by the way. And then I think I missed Gus. So good to see you. Beach day, so I'll catch the VOD later. Heck yeah, have fun at the beach. It's supposed to get warm first eventually. It's not right now, but eventually. But our beaches don't open for like months around here, sadly. Okay. So, while Lulu has managed to stay around, there's This continues. Are we slandered by the same girl? Allison is desperate to find a phone number in the Portland groups. What is this? Allison says, hey guys, I'm needing to find a name from a phone number. I'm not finding it on Snapchat. Who can help me? Please and thank you. Okay, dude, at every single job I've ever worked for, we are trained that if somebody like comes in and asks for a specific person's schedule, that we are not ever supposed to give it out, because you never know when some stalker is just trying to find information about somebody. Like, stalkers use every pattern and day in the life routine that you have religiously. They cling to anything that they know you do on any regular basis. If they find out what gym you're going to, what route you take your dog for a walk, like, they will never forget that information, okay? So we are taught, like, if someone says like, hey, can you tell me the name of who this phone number belongs to? Like, anytime someone's even like, hey, can you give me this person's phone number? Like, I check with the actual person first to make sure it's okay. You can't just go handing out information, especially not to some stranger in a Facebook group. What's also creepy is the fact that she seems to have posted this multiple times. Like, she, in like 1 minute apart, she's like, hey, guys, this is serious. Okay. I guess Allison is also the type to take her shirt off at the top of a mountain. Oh, whatever makes you feel free, mama. That's pretty weird. Pretty weird. Because here's the thing is, like, I can't imagine a situation where it would come down to that, where you would need to do that. Like, even if you just met a guy in passing in a bar and like forgot his name, and you were like embarrassed that you forgot his name but you got his number, like, dude, you got to just take the L and like start the conversation and start trying to figure it out or something. Like, to turn it into a bit at this point. It would be kind of funny, but like, man, if I gave my number to somebody and they texted me and then on like day 3 they were like, all right, this is really embarrassing, but like, this whole time I forgot your name. I would be like, no way, that's crazy. Like, maybe I'd be offended, but I think overall it'd be pretty funny. But if I'm talking to somebody and I find out that they're literally like trying to find out my name through my phone number on a publicly accessible forum, I would be like, we're not operating with like the latest software, are we? Like, we're we're not the brightest crayon in the box, huh? Maybe it's time we see other people expeditiously, okay? This one is if by this point, by the way, you've thought to yourself, man, I wonder if it's ever happened where a girl blew up her entire relationship by posting here and the guy found out about it. Do I have the schadenfreude for you right now, my friend? I've got you, okay? Let's take a look at this little situation gone slightly awry. Caitlin Duffy. This happened to me just now. I had a moment of distrust. I was proven wrong, and just as the tides shifted and I took the post down, I received this. Impeccable timing. Thanks a lot to whoever ruined my relationship. It looks like this is maybe her saying, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry for holding on to things I should have let go by now. I know you have more integrity than I tell myself, and you don't deserve a lot of what I've given. I need to do better. So it sounds like she's been psycho on him, accusing him of cheating. He's like, I can literally prove to you I'm not. And she's like, okay, I'm sorry. But then someone sends him the post of himself. Oh God, the full face is posted. And she's going, please help a girl out, y'all. His full name, age, and location, 3 years together, Phone's still never out around me. Can anyone confirm if you've seen him on dating apps during this period? So the only suspicion she have is simply the fact that he doesn't like leave his phone open and unlocked in her vicinity on a regular basis, apparently. Which, girlfriend, what is your reason for even needing to go through the phone? Like, what's the reason for that? It's like, I feel like you're just a distrustful person. And I love that she blurred her own face, but not his. She posts anonymously, but he doesn't get to be. Now, why is that, ma'am? Why do you think your anonymity matters, but poor Ivan's doesn't? Damn. He goes on to say, pretty embarrassed right now, having people I work with sending this to me. Oh, brother. Wow, and here's her post history. Do with this information what you will, but she is liking people's posts, which is weird because, okay, she's also commenting on it about how she went on a date with this guy twice. Girl, if you have not been in the dating market for 3 years, why are you like still involved with talking about people you dated 3 years ago? I feel like any contribution you really have to that would, I mean, it's good that she's saying positive things, I guess, and then just telling women they're beautiful. Good for the positive affirmations, I guess. But damn. That's so funny too that she goes, thanks a lot to whoever ruined my relationship. You can say that to a mirror, girl. You can say that to a mirror. That is like classic cheater mentality, is like, well, yeah, I had an affair on my husband for months, but you're the one who told him about it, so you're the reason my marriage blew up. I mean, yeah, I did something wrong, but now that you're telling people about it, they're mad at me, so I'm the real victim here. Jack, thank you so much for the super chat. Jack says, I've been to Seattle, Tacoma, Tigard? A few times. How is this all I-5 corridor rot? It's probably reached 509 area code by now. Dude, this isn't every single area code. This is a pretty indiscriminate group, I will say. I haven't heard anything like from one group that's worse than the other. I've got to imagine Florida's the worst though, just based on Florida being Florida. Let's keep looking at the complete normalcy, the very regular behavior of people within this group, okay? This one was posted once again to the Seattle group. Whoops. What a video to accidentally switch to. This anonymous member, so brave and so bold, posts, anyone using Tinder app, hear me out. So I've been talking to this guy for hours. We were vibing so good, but then I just went and checked my message from him. All of a sudden, his name in chat disappeared. What does that even mean? To which the commenters tell her, it means he unmatched you, dude. Now think about that. This whole group started as people who are already dating the guy, who actually are justified in deserving to know if anyone else is dating him, right? If you're dating someone, I feel that you are pretty entitled to knowing if they're dating someone else, if you've agreed to monogamy already, and you don't have some kind of don't ask, don't tell poly relationship, which that's your business. We're talking about people who don't want their partner dating other people. You've made it pretty clear in some way that we are dating each other. We are not supposed to be dating other people, and therefore you do deserve to know if your partner's dating someone else. That I think we can all pretty much agree on, right? That's what the group started for. We now have people who simply learned of someone's existence because of an app. They had mere hours of conversation, which This could be as many as 5 text messages broken up over the course of like 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is not like you've spent hours on a train getting to know each other. This is, you have exchanged some messages which clearly did not hook the man enough to even want to stay matched to you in a way that you even can message each other. Okay? And you're now trying to use the app to get intel? No! No! We need to use the super no bottle. Stay back. Okay? That is not what this is for. Unmatching, unfriending, all that kind of stuff means they don't want to talk to you. You take the L and you go. You do not have a chronically unpicked meltdown. No. All right. Here's what else they're bragging about now. And this is where I'm starting to understand the argument that this is where I'm starting to see where people are calling it a cult. Okay? Because the groups have now not become so much about making sure that nobody's cheating on each other. They're now trying to like train each other how to like basically they're trying to teach each other tactics for testing the men, I guess. I'll scroll down on this one so it's easier to read. Okay. So this girl is bragging about her new testing method for men that she's trying to teach. Easy way to weed out guys not looking for a relationship. Dale says, "Hi, what is it that you're looking for?" She says, "A friend." He says, "Damn, just like that, eh? I like that. Okay, that's what I'm looking for pretty much too. You're in Oshawa, able to host? If you're serious and down, just text me." She says, "Nope, literally just learning men like to lie, saying they want a relationship. So now I say this to see how they respond. Easier to weed out the boys. Wish you well." Okay, so I personally interpreted this a couple different ways. The one way that I think that she interprets this, what she's ultimately going for, is I believe like on these apps, you're supposed to put what you're ultimately looking for in the grand scheme of things. So if someone says, in the grand scheme of things, I'm looking for a relationship, but when she plays herself to be a hoe and they respond accordingly, then she's like, aha, no, you're not. But the way that I saw this is I feel like a lot of single guys are like this, and a lot of single women are like this too. Let's not play denial here, where they are ultimately looking for a relationship. That is what they would like in the grand scheme of things. But if someone's willing to just be a cool, respectable friends with benefits, they're not going to just shut that down in the name of, long-term arrangements only. They're like, I mean, cool. If you're like honestly down and consenting and just want to have a good time, then I'm down with that too. Now, I can also see how someone would not like that. I can see why a person would be like, okay, you seem like you're kind of a hoe. I'm not into that. And you're perfectly allowed to, but I don't know. I feel like she kind of is just self-sabotaging. I feel like she's poisoning her own well. You know what I mean? Like, I guess if she was ultimately hoping for him to say, like, oh, well, I'm not, good luck, but, like, what if he just unmatches you already by the time you say that? Then he's passed your test, but now he's inaccessible to you. I don't know if that's gonna work fully. But look, everybody's agreeing with her. They're like, love this. Bro said able to host, definitely lives in a rooming house with 10 other guys, or his childhood bedroom at his mom's house, or he has a wife. That's a lot of speculation for one post. You hit him with the Uno reverse. Love it. Great idea. This is actually genius. Great strategy. Going to apply it. Then someone else says, this is weird, actually. There's nothing wrong with people just looking for a hookup. Why lie to him? And everybody's against them. So my God says, Dadvocate, I don't attack people based on looks. Dadvocate turning woman Luigi stream. So you have chosen verbal annihilation. Both men and women have crap takes on the subject according to my Instagram. Oh man. Yeah, I will say that stream definitely turned me into a different person. But for the most part, I'm pretty intellectually consistent about it. You have to really do some evil, heinous for me to go gloves off on that one, I must say. That stream's going to be coming out edited again, by the way. Patrons and YouTube members, you have access to it, but everyone else, you'll get the edited version soon too. So these groups are not really about finding cheaters. They're about teaching the latest test strategies. They're about body shaming. They're about making fun of our sons, apparently. But it gets worse, if you can believe it. Now, we've mentioned, there's a lot of people posting things that aren't true, right? We just saw a woman completely fake bruising using a TikTok Facetune app in order to accuse someone of DV in hopes of locating him for God knows what purpose. We can only assume the worst. But is there anybody posting to these groups just blatantly lying, just making stuff up, just for the chutes and ladders of it all? Well, I hate to tell you this, but yes, there absolutely are. Don't you worry about that. There sure are. Let's take a look at this post. We got Salem, Oregon, Portland area. She says, I'm honestly confused about this whole situation. Someone posted about my boyfriend, but when I tried reaching out, they stayed anonymous. The things they mentioned about his house seemed outdated, could have been from years ago, and they didn't even have his correct age. So I really don't know what to make of it. Do women actually come in here making things up just to stir drama and mess with relationships? I just want the truth. If you were the one who posted about y'all being intimate in the living room and he drives a silver car, can you share more specific details? It's hard to just move on when things aren't adding up. And then, does this one go to another one or does it just keep playing? I don't remember. No, I think I had another example of this one though. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Because here we have even more women admitting that there's tons of fake posts in here. Someone said, anyone caught someone commenting on a post here and found it to be a lie? Context and comments, but even before someone provides the context, they simply say, yep. I put more info in a comment after you responded. Could you please be more specific? They say, I think it's a 50-50 shot, to be honest. Scales can be tipped in one direction or the other based on proof and or multiple similar accounts by many men and by many women. If it's just one detractor, then yes, I'd suggest obtaining proof and doing a little digging yourself. Not in this one, but in another city's group, I saw a guy I had matched with and been chatting with had been posted before I started interacting with him. I searched him and found the post. One commenter said she was his ex and lots of tea and told the poster to PM her. I asked if I could too, and she proceeded to rip him apart to me via DM. Turns out it was his ex-wife. Her claims and his actions didn't match up, so I took it with a grain of salt and went on a few dates with him. I also looked at her profile, and oh boy, what I saw was not good. Very toxic. Then I listened to what he basically didn't say about her, never trash-talked her, and I concluded that it was highly likely she was a toxic histrionic and was trying to sabotage any potential relationship he tried to start. Then I noticed she deleted her replies to me in our DM convo. Dude, this reminds me so much of my husband's ex. Oh my God. Yeah. You guys know my husband, he came with a child, right? Never married, but he came with a child and he came with an involved ex by proxy, right? And it was the same thing. Like, my husband never spoke bad about her at all. And so I always thought, like, oh, this must be like a good, cordial co parenting relationship. But then as soon as he told her that he was dating me, everything seemed to like flip. And she started like withholding the child, not letting him see the child, reducing, minimizing his time. And I was always trying to like get to know her, get to meet her, and she refused to meet me for months and months, refused to meet me. And then finally, when I finally got her to like actually meet me, she just did the same thing, like telling me all these stories about my husband, stuff that like didn't even make sense. So like by the time that I'd finally met with her, I'd been with this man for like 2 years. Yes, like that's how long from like we slowly dated as and like got to know each other before I even became like a figure to be considered in his son's life. But I've been with this man for a very long time and she's trying to tell me like that he's an alcoholic and all this stuff, and I'm like, this man, I've never even seen him drink more than one beer. Like, I don't even think I've ever seen him have two beers. And like to this day, I've never seen TJ drunk. Like, I've never seen it. So I was like, what do you mean he's an alcoholic? Like, this crazy stuff that was so confusing. So that's how I know that this can happen. I posted my guy on here and someone said they matched with him on a dating app, but some of the details were highly suspicious and didn't align with how I've known him to be. Plus, they wouldn't share any proof. This is also another thing that has happened to me. This was a way that I covered a woman on here who not only was she making like extremely toxic videos, but I also cold clocked her being busted in a case where she was catfishing a man and basically scamming him for his money, scammed him out of like $10,000, and was also blackmailing him for even more money. And she got caught and charged in this case. So I made a video about it. And her response to that was like, oh yeah, well then why did I see your man on Tinder? Like, she was trying to like get under my skin like that. But the problem was that like this girl wasn't even living in the same country as me. Like, how could you possibly find my man on Tinder? You're like 50,000 miles away from me. What do you mean? But this is, and then since that happened to me, I've noticed that it's a tactic that women use against other women to try to make them feel insecure, is they hit them with like, well, I saw your man on Tinder. And they just throw it out there. And it's like just an attempt to make them feel insecure. It's really weird, but I've definitely seen it. Someone also said, is it possible someone stole his pictures and created a fake profile? She said, yeah, he's very handsome, which happens all the time. People will use your photos to catfish. There are people like here who post drama. Let's see. This person says, I'm not going to list specific examples, but you have to know it's going to happen. I love this group, but take anything you read with a grain of salt. Ladies are just as vindictive as fellas. My fiance was posted in here when I 1000% know he is not cheating. They stole an old photo out of his Instagram. It was so outrageous he thought I made the post, when it could really be any girl or bitter ex. She had no real proof when I commented, but it did get a rise out of me, and for a second I doubted and wondered if it was true. Women know exactly what they are doing. Wow, so think about that. There's people just like posting random people in here just for fun, just for the fun of the fallout of it. Now girls are getting in trouble when they're not even the ones posting it. Girls are getting upset with other people posting it. This is crazy, because whether it's someone who is upset at the guy or someone who's upset at the girl, it's quite a way to hurt somebody now. And yet we've got moms going, my son will never be posted to a group like that. Well, you never know. What if someone hates his girlfriend? Then he could get posted. There are so many factors for what is getting guys posted in these groups that has nothing to do with them actually cheating on their partner. Dylan says, I've been DMing TJ. I don't have proof. I believe you, though. I will share TJ with you, Dylan. Just a little bit. Okay. Oh, yeah, also, this is kind of funny. I found myself in the group. Look, there's me. They shared me inside of the group. That's so funny. Okay. Now, before I show you another funny one, part of this cult has led me to discover something new, which is these groups have also kind of off-branched into a new method. Like I told you that these groups, they work together to like teach different tests and dating methods. And I found this really interesting. Apparently, they have something called the burning haystack method that is taught within these groups. So the burning haystack method, it comes from that old term of finding a needle in a haystack, which is often used in reference to dating, where like, oh, you know, finding a good guy is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's very difficult. So what a lot of women are encouraging is, well, there's one way to find a needle in the haystack, and that's by burning the entire haystack. Which, in theory, yes, if you burn down the entire haystack immediately, you'll find the needle, but it's like they don't even have the intellectual capacity to make it past how even the initial metaphor they're using is a terrible idea, because you don't really need the needle exactly, unless you're trying to prevent the animals from eating it, but you're also gonna like destroy everything and maybe not even find the needle potentially, right? So how does this method work in reference to burning the haystack? The idea is basically that as soon as a man demonstrates even the most minute form of even perceived toxicity, you end everything immediately with him. This is considered a time-saving method. That way, if you just reject everyone on their very first sign of a flaw, clearly you'll have so much more time for finding a man with no flaws. I'm starting to understand how the loneliness epidemic exists for both men and women, quite frankly. So let me get in here a little bit. We're going to read some of these. Okay. Let's see here. Is this the right one? The burning haystack method cult leader is an unpicked misandrist, shocked Pikachu face. All right, we might have to zoom in a bit. Okay. Help, have I swung too far the other way, reading too much into everything? Or have I just gotten really good at reading rhetorical clues? This exchange happened within the first couple of texts on an app. Before learning about burning haystack dating method, I would have kept talking to Warren, but his response bugged me and was an immediate B2B for two reasons. Guys, try to help me figure out what B2B could stand for. I was kind of thinking it as like burning two bridges or something, like burning to something is my idea. Basically, just like in context, it seems to be like we just shut it down. So she accuses Warren of one, mansplaining. Yeah, thanks. I know that cooking and baking are creative activities. And two, because I'm a woman, he's assuming I cook and bake, revealing that he believes in old-fashioned gender roles. For the record, I don't like cooking and baking, so this really rubbed me the wrong way. I know that my gut response to his response is really all that matters, but Jenny, I would still love to know your thoughts on his comeback from a burning haystack dating method perspective. Do I need a course correction? Okay, so let's just read these before we read Jenny's response. Seems as though these people are talking about their interests, I would guess, because she says her interests are comedy, guitar, archery. Or though she's responding to his interests. Okay, seems like a multifaceted dude. He's into comedy, guitar, and archery. She says, a man of many talents. He says, just call me a modern Renaissance man. What's your creative outlet? She says, good morning, Warren. I don't think I have a creative bone in my body. My outlet is physical activity. He says, cooking and baking can be creative. And good morning. So, am I supposed to be seeing a red flag here? What? I don't know if maybe she had like mentioned something about cooking or something for him to bring it up, or how is that mansplaining? It's not like she's like, well, actually, because you mentioned that you cooked a pot roast yesterday, technically that would be a creative outlet, and therefore you are wrong. Like, I don't see that energy. What? And you just shut it all down with Warren because he suggested that even daily activities can still be creative? What? Wait, dude, no. Because a person asking or even bringing up the hobbies of cooking, not even the hobbies, the necessities of cooking and baking, is not being a sexist pig. He's just assuming that you probably cook and bake because you're an adult. You got offended that he assumes that you know how to cook and bake instead of understanding that he probably just thinks you're a competent adult? What? Anthony says, he was breathing, red flag. Holy shit. But the people in these groups go with your gut. If it rubs you the wrong way, just unmatch. Yeah, I'm a big fan of if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Me too. When you really think about it, it's the only thing that makes sense. I'm starting to not know if this is gonna make sense or not. Thank you for another dono person 65. Like I said, we might get to your stuff. I kind of created an itinerary of stuff that I found interesting when it comes to this, that I think is going to cover a lot of the same issues that people need to know about. We might have time at the end. We might have time at the end for me to go over the specific people that you listed, but I haven't done much research, so it'd be a little bit half-assed, quite frankly. Okay. Now, we've also talked a lot about how a lot of the people in these groups are trying to use these groups to basically like do their own detective work when it comes to stalking. So, here's another example of this. And the consequences. This says, a few days ago, I posted a picture of my boyfriend's Instagram story of him in another girl's room, trying to figure out who the girl was. Let's pause there. You were doing what now? Now, don't get me wrong. If my man posted a story and he was literally in an unknown bedroom with an unknown female, would my hackles be raised? Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Would I then screenshot that photo, post it where anyone can see it and go, can anybody identify this girl or her bedroom? That can't be what these groups are used for. Like, that literally, for legal purposes, not just should not, but cannot be how we are using these. Arsians, thank you for the 5, says, I think you missed a previous super chat. Okay, let me scroll for a second. Also, I sent you an email with context to react to. I don't know what to do with the rest of the super chat. Thank you so much. Is it like context relating to this or for another time? And then Jojo, yes, I missed your super chat. Thank you so much for the 10, says, that's called trauma response, not a method, girly pop. Also, hi. There's a lot of people who really think that like trauma responses are the same as an effective dating strategy, but I don't know about that. Somebody on here showed it to him, and he showed up by my apartment, got inside, went on my Facebook, deactivated my account, and deleted the post. So please, ladies, don't share information on this with any guy. Try to put yourself in each other's shoes. Okay, so two wrongs don't make a right? Like, this seemed to be some psycho on psycho violence. She's screenshotting his stories, posting them to Are We Dating the Same Guy? Trying to get someone to identify the girl in her room. Like, what? And, like, here's the thing, even if you are the girl, let's say you join one of these groups and someone goes, hey, can somebody tell me who this is and whose bedroom this is? And you're like, so that's my house. Like, what's your next move at that point? Like, I feel like I would have to see what the authorities could do. I wouldn't count on much, but I would have to look into something. Like, how I would have to, so because think about that, this is now an expensive legal thing. You have to subpoena the mods to reveal the anonymous members' posting location, and even then, she could still be posting from an alt. It's just a Facebook account. It's not actually enough to properly identify this person. And then is that enough info to get a restraining order? Probably not. Now you have to fight for a restraining order? All because these groups go highly unmoderated? But what's crazy is that clearly whatever she posted was identifying enough because they found the guy and showed it to him. So people are finding, like, people are identifying this stuff. But now, yeah, you can't break into people's houses and delete their pages. That is also illegal. We had a little bit of a legal on illegal play here, but now we are starting to get into the criminal ramifications of these groups, to put it lightly. Okay? I'm gonna exit out of a few of these things. This one made me laugh so hard before we get into some more of the serious parts. Let me line this one up a bit for you so you guys can see this. Might have to shrinky dink it down so we can see. Okay. So again, this is an example of a classic Are We Dating the Same Guy post. Puts the name, the age, the location, and then a lot of people just post guys just to be like, don't date him. Like, I'm not even dating him anymore. I never was, but I don't like him. So I think that all of the rest of you guys should not like him, right? So Chris 30 ends up the next one to be absolutely canceled by the greater female community, apparently. Here's a general picture of him under a rainbow, looking like a classic guy. But his opener, you know, it's a bit questionable, but to be fair, not incredibly harmful. His opener is, sit on me. She responds, bro, learn how to flirt, for fuck's sake. I'm not on here looking for anything serious, and I'm usually down to F, but it's wildly pathetic and disappointing when men have zero personality or charisma and expect sex. Like, what, dude? It would have taken such little effort to have me. Did that do what she meant it to do, or... if I'm Chris, I'm having myself a laugh. If I'm Chris, I'm printing out this exchange and framing it just as a work of art, which it says that he makes art. And this was one of those times where he just had to put out the canvas, quite frankly. The art really made itself, because I'm assuming that they must have put in their bio, like down for casual encounters or something, which that is very popular, you know, for these dating apps to say like what exactly you're looking for. And yeah, most people do end up putting that they're looking for a relationship, but there are some people who must have put in their bio something along the lines of like, I'm down for casual hookups. Well, Chris took that and ran with it. And in his mind, if you're the kind of person that's like, I'm down for casual hookups, then you might like the line, sit on me. Personally, you know, I think it's a very strong opener for a purely sexual encounter. He's indicating that he is putting her needs first. She can literally just pull up a seat and receive fellation just on the house, take herself a little mustache ride, you know, no commitment. He's not even saying what he wants her to do to his body. He's like, just come and sit on down. Your man Chris will take care of it for you. And she crashes out entirely over this, which again, look, if she has indicated that she is only looking for a serious relationship and his opener is sit on me, might just deserve some kind of a harsh response. You know, me on a dating app, I feel like I would probably curate it in a way that's like, I'm wife material, and so I would not like an opener like that. I'm like, come on, let's talk about our interests and gain a sense of respect first. But other people are just superficial visual explorers. They're like, you're hot, I'm hot, let's explore each other's holes. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are built like that. He clearly got the vibe that she was built like that, and for a good reason, because she clearly is built like that. She literally said, I'm usually down to F, but you just didn't try hard enough. But it would have been easy if you did. It would have taken such little effort to have me is a crazy line, dude. That's a wild one. I gotta say, like, one more sentence and you could have been fully inside this is wild to say, though. Damn. But it's good to know that, you know, it's not just actual cheaters being exposed. It's not completely innocent people who simply matched with someone getting exposed. At least there's some self-tells in the mix a little bit. Okay? Now, what else did I have on here? Now, we've explored a lot of the ethics of these groups, such as why to all of it. Like, why are we still doing this when it's clear that this has caused quite enough harm? But I want to know what you think about the ethics of this situation are. This was posted to an Are We Dating the Same Guy group. It says, 316 area. Can anybody tell me who this is? I found the pictures in my husband's phone. Tea, please. And to clarify, because only this expose group cared to blur the information, but this seems to be an intimate photo that had intimate body parts posted that this person just posted to the group. So we've seen innocent people posted. We've seen people who aren't even dating guys trying to get information on these guys. We've seen people admit that there are people who just lie about posting just to cause drama. And now we've entered the revenge pornography crime of these groups, because first of all, it's a federal crime to go through a phone that's not yours. So we have one federal crime on the lineup already just by going through the phone, okay? And I'm not throwing shade on people who are highly suspicious they're being cheated on and just like need that sense of closure. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not throwing shade on you being in such a desperate mindset, but I am warning you that if they can prove that you did it, which you going on a group and publicly admitting you did it with hard evidence that you did it is going to help the case. If they can prove you did it, it's a federal crime. Next, You took intimate photos of a strange woman that you don't even know and then posted them online. What if your piece of shit husband didn't even have permission to have those photos to begin with? What if he got sent those photos? What if those are like his buddy on the job site's wife or something and she doesn't even know these photos are going around? Now you're spreading them. You don't know anything about these photos or how they were obtained. All you know is they're photos of a woman saved to your husband's phone. And now you're posting them. He might have paid good money for those photos. Now you're spreading them for free? Fraudulent distribution of intellectual property. But damn! That's 2 federal crimes in 1 casual Facebook group posting. And we haven't even gotten to some of the worst parts, if you can believe it. Next, we have admins within the group encouraging doxing. So in Washington's Are We Dating the Same Guy post, Emily Marie Kaler posts tagging literally everyone. When you do that, every single person who has joined the group receives a notification to say, uh-oh, guess who sold you all out to Are We Slandered by the Same Girl? Apparently they don't like it when their information is posted to other groups. A shocker. She says this time it was Jade Graziano. Why, you ask? She's extra angry at my decision, with me as the sole owner and admin, to refuse entry and membership to MAGA trash. Girl thought she was going to keep asking for a different admin, a manager, like she was at Denny's. Dude, the power trip that this woman is going on because she made a group that is completely non-monetized to encourage criminal activity is literally insane. You just made a Facebook group, honey. You wish you were making as much money as a Denny's manager. Like, this is such an insane thing to actually be on a power trip about. So she's having the slandered page come after me. Others and you all. So, what's the fallacy of this where someone rightfully calls you out on your bad behavior, so you try to weaponize them as a greater threat to the entire community in hopes of getting them all as your personal army? What's the term for that? Would you all take a moment to not only report the slandered page, but also pay Jade's page a visit? Dox her. I can give you her personal phone, address, employer, and more if you'd like, and let her know what you think. I'm sorry, what so now, after bragging that you are the sole owner of this page, and therefore pretty responsible for everything happening, you're going to plainly direct every single member of the group to harass a person, completely go offline and harass a person in her daily life because she made fun of you to a opposing page. And the whole reason you're doing that is because you're anti-MAGA. How much do you want to bet that this woman gets an absolute wedgie even thinking about January 6th? How much do you want to bet that she blames Donald Trump entirely for the events of the insurrection that day? And yet, here she is, clearly and plainly, in far more plain words and instructions than Donald Trump ever carried out. And I'm not even a fan of the guy, but I am going to go ahead and use her own logic against her here. If you're so anti-MAGA, Why would you do the exact crime that you are accusing this man of doing, but literally, like, in way more plain of terms? All this is telling me is that if you did have the power to send an entire army of people and cause that much destruction against your enemies, you would. You absolutely would. Holy shit, dude. Hold on, let me read to Wodro's super chat and the other one. My mom, yep, I know all about your mom, had to cut contact because I'm in a long distance relationship with a woman in Texas and keeps saying she's a cheater because she has better, closer options while trying to find a new place to live after losing her place. Correct me if I'm wrong, your mom is single, right? Like, your mom, if I had to guess, sabotages every single relationship with every man she's ever been with. Is that a fair guess? And is now, just guessing here, still projecting that all onto you because you're not allowed to have happiness if she can't? Does that sound maybe a little bit familiar? That's what I'm getting. Jojo, thank you for another generous super chat. Says it's 2025 and some women put the blame on the other. Ma'am, he signed the marriage contract between you and him. Wait, I'm confused about the... Are we still talking about the, I'm so sorry, I don't know what that's in reference to, but I read it. I read it. Thank you for that. Just checked her FB and out of curiosity, she's obsessed with Trump and his supporters. Yeah, that's really unhealthy, dude. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the guy. I'm not a fan of Elon Musk being so overly involved in the government. I'm just not really a fan of establishment or government in general. No matter who's really in office, I'm gonna have criticisms, but it really can't be healthy when, like, your entire personality is blaming every single thing on Trump. It's also not, like, highly intellectual, because it's like assuming Trump even has that much power. You're giving him that much power over you. You know what I mean? It just can't. By all means, don't like the guy. By all means, criticize the guy. I will fight to death for your rights to do so. I will be making fun of Trump. I will certainly be doing so, just as I made fun of Biden's fucking vacation. What was it, 100-day vacation in his last year, having ass? Okay, just like we made fun of Biden, we will persist. But, like, damn, you didn't see me blaming Biden for every single thing that happened wrong, even though Biden was the one who failed on his own weak-ass attempts to reform family court. Anyway, but political rants aside, Solaroid, thank you so much for the donut. Warhammer 40k lore breakdown stream when. I can't help you there. I really don't know anything about Warhammer. TJ could help with a D&D breakdown, but I can't help you with Warhammer. I'm so sorry. So I just wanted... These were all examples that I really cherry-picked specifically to showcase the fact of, like, what's really being posted and how the sole admins of moderators of these groups are behaving. They're not being admined. They're not being moderated. And there's just not too many precedent cases of Facebook groups being held responsible for anything for anybody to feel like they're at risk or that the law even applies to them. Why would they? You know? Now, let me show you guys just an average man's experience. I found this from Reddit. This was coming from the Are We Dating the Same Guy as Toxic subreddit. This is this person's experience, a victim, if you will. This person says, very toxic. To start, I am in no form of committed relationship. I'm not fully dating anyone. I've talked to a few individuals, but nothing serious. A few dates here and there, but nothing locked in or major. I had Hinge, and in here is where I had spoken to a few people. Little did I know, meeting someone off of here would be absolutely horrendous and unnerving. I matched with a woman, older, of which was looking for a quote-unquote short-term relationship open to long. For starters, I am fully aware that we both have a dating app. I am aware that she likely has men contacting her and she could be talking to them. That is not my business. If she is talking to someone or some people, go ahead. We are not committed. We are not exclusive. I have no hold on you to where you cannot go or talk to others. I don't believe it's common for a person to download a dating app and solely conversate with one person. As we went over previously in the stream, that's an unrealistic expectation. As a man, if I go on a date and expect you to exclusively talk to me immediately, then I'm sure social media would rip me a new ass out of backlash, but I digress. I began speaking to this woman online, and the conversation was okay. Nothing that really stood out or captivated me, but I couldn't really call it bad. After a couple days, she wanted to switch to Snapchat, to which I agreed. On there, the experience was about the same. Lukewarm, maybe a hint of spice, but nothing special. She kept urging to meet, but I was cautious, as something just didn't feel right. Gentlemen, you need to trust your guts too, okay? Trusting your instincts is not just for women. Eventually, I gave in and decided to go get coffee together one morning before she went to work. We met at a local coffee shop where I bought us food and coffee, and we sat and spoke for about 20 minutes. The conversation was a little better in person, but still, something just didn't feel right. Like my gut didn't feel right. As we were heading out and got to the parking lot to say our goodbyes, she stands there staring at my face, inching closer and closer and closer. She blatantly wanted a kiss, and sure enough, we both leaned in for a quick one. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of PDA, especially to a new date, so only left it at one. It did feel nice, but overall the date wasn't that special, as not even a week later it honestly faded out of my mind. In the days after, she asked for my first number, and I obliged. Oh, asked first. Sorry, I think that meant to say she asked for my number. We talked a little bit, but I just wasn't feeling it. The vibe wasn't there, and it just seemed to fade out. Really quick pause here. There's something I need to warn you about if you guys are not aware of this already. Did you know that there exist apps where all a person needs is your phone number, and from there they can look up every single social media that you own? Real talk, it's getting easier and easier. I always tell people anything that you put out there publicly, expect people to have access to. If there's things that you don't want people to see, lock it down. But if you have social media that is anyway tied to your phone number, which is becoming more and more common because it's used for two-factor verification, people can find all of it through your phone number. So be cautious who you hand that out to, okay? He continues, in just over a week since the coffee date is when I was hit with the news. I had been posted to that group, the Are We Dating the Same Guy group. I was mortified. As I had said, yes, I had talked to more than one individual, but nothing overtly serious, nothing concrete, nothing set in stone. There was no one that I told I was exclusive to anyone, and they could talk to whoever as well, as we were not dating. But this post absolutely sent me through an anxiety-induced mess. I can understand if I was a boyfriend or a husband, but I was posted after one coffee date. I'm just sick, embarrassed, a knot in my stomach, and feel publicly shamed. Mostly the comments, I'm told, were supportive, with a few being neutral or even less being negative. After a few hours, the post was taken down, but it was spread across 5 groups. This is another serious thing that I need to make clear, is now that there are so many different groups, there's cross-posting is a huge issue. It's like a California fire. It starts in one area, and because everything's so dry, like these women's vaginas, it just spreads like wildfire. Like I said, in my general area of West Michigan alone, there's at least 5 groups, and people will go and join every single one of them and cross-post across all of them. Facebook makes it really easy. You make a post to one group and it'll even ask you before you've even thought about doing it yourself, oh, well, do you want to just cross-post here, here, and there? And this is designed with marketing in mind, because they're thinking of groups like garage sale groups and things like that, where it would be super beneficial to just spread it across various things so that you can sell faster. But because these groups are so unregulated, but still treated as a product, then innocent men's information packaged in a way that makes them look very untrustworthy, or even just gives away way too much information about them, is now being marketed as though it's an old dresser that needs a new home. It's just being spread that fast. Again, I'm told it was taken down, but the damage is already done. It didn't take much detective work to figure out it was her, and I confronted her about it, to which she was appalled and called me a woman backstabber. And we both blocked each other. Yep, classic. Yes, I shared your information between 5 different groups after one singular coffee date when I literally was absolutely not entitled to your loyalty at all or whatsoever, but you found out about it and told people, so now I'm the real victim. Classic. I never said her and I were exclusive. She had every right to talk to whoever she wanted. She could go on 9 dates that day. I didn't care. We were fresh and talking. That was our first and only time meeting. And yet you go and post me on a loaded page to which I cannot defend my side of the story as if I'm a boyfriend or a husband. This whole experience has left me mortified and embarrassed, sick to my stomach. I do not have Hinge, nor will I ever use a dating app ever again, as I feel this is finally the nail in the coffin for me as far as online dating goes. This makes me feel even more cautious about going into the dating field, as it has left me feeling disgusted. To whoever sees this, please be cautious the next time you go on a date. You genuinely have zero idea what someone may say or do, no matter the amount of time you've known them. Literally, she fully removed an option for other women from a market that may have worked. Do you know how many people I know who have actually created very very successful long-term relationships and even marriages because of Bumble or Tinder or Hinge? Like, I don't like a lot of dating apps, but they can be successful if used correctly and if you don't harass people off of them. But now, a man who probably would have been a great option for somebody is now that much harder for them to find. We are literally turning these men into hermits. That's seriously, Anthony says, another MGTOW is born. Seriously. And there's a lot of women out there who are like, I hate that men are trying to blame women for the male loneliness epidemic. It's not our fault. It's your fault because you're not doing this, this, and this. And it's like, yeah, but sometimes it's our fault. Because we are doing shit like this. We are perpetuating are we dating the same guy groups, which are literally causing men to self-isolate. So it's at least a little bit our fault. Okay? And to go a little bit more into the consequences of what the victims of these posts have to go through, check this out. This guy posts, has anyone tried a paid removal service? Has anyone tried a paid removal service or expert to help remove your "are we dating the same guy" hurtful or harmful posts? I found one, but wanted to check with the community for credibility before I get a quote from them. Has anyone used this before? I have a post against me with over 10 women commenting hurtful and defamatory comments out of spite, and I need to get this taken down. Thanks. People are saying what they did or didn't recommend. A lot of people are saying it looks bogus, but this comment really stood out to me. I'm currently working with them, paid $1,000 to have 2 posts removed. Communication via phone and email has been excellent so far, but I'm still waiting to see if the posts come down. So think about that. The types of internet scrubbers who go out of the way to remove information about a person are typically either used by like high-level government officials or webcam artists who no longer want their not safe for work content so publicly available, and they usually do have to pay out the ass. We've got dudes paying $1,000, $1,000, 10 $100 bills to remove 2 posts. And they don't even know if it's going to work. That's criminal. That these men are having to pay OnlyFans dollars to not be harassed by anonymous people online. That the stuff is seriously causing such reputational damage that they're having to pay out the butt for it. This is horrible. And now, trigger warning as we get into some of the additional consequences, because I've spent this stream so far going over the cringe type posts. We've talked about the best of them, right? When someone really finds out that the guy they've been dating forever is dating other people and is able to successfully catch a cheater. We've talked about the best of them, of which I would say probably compromise anywhere between 1 and 5% total of every post made to them. The vast majority are simply posts with a man's name and picture asking if anybody has any dirt. Most of the time from those posts comes no viable information, just a lot of speculation, judgments, often body shaming, and every once in a while, maybe you'll get a good comment. But then we have a huge chunk of posts that are false, fabricated, designed just to hurt a man or a woman or both in the process, jilted lovers, and then a great, vast, huge amount of them are inappropriate people who do not even have access to these men, trying to gain intel, trying to stalk, trying to obtain information that they are not privy to. Okay? That's what most of these posts are. But some of the consequences have been people have faced reputational damage, libel, slander. We're having people having to pay to get them removed. But it actually does get worse. I'm going to read a quick super chat before I read this. Jack, thank you for the 5. If I wanted to play the blame game, I'd just bother mommy dearest. Yeah, no. Yeah, these people, a lot of who they have to blame is clearly themselves here. But this other Reddit post, again, the Are We Dating the Same Guy is toxic. A lot of these posts are from victims who are posted here, and very few of them have ever gotten to see any justice as a result. But this one really exemplifies the severity of these groups. This person posts, I checked myself into the emergency room last night. I had a severe panic attack last night and checked into the ER. Both men and women approached me yesterday afternoon and called me all sorts of slanderous names and made accusations. One woman said, we have the tea on you now. POFS. Piece of fucking... I can't take this anymore, and thought about ending it all. This man was literally approached in public over these groups. As we can see from the very own moderators recommending and encouraging mass doxing, these people are not afraid to take it offline. I mean, really, the original design was to take it offline, right? To figure out what's going on so you can correct your personal lives. But these people are taking every single post as a direct proof of guilt and are now figuring out who to declare public enemy number 1. And it's like, man, I've received a ton of hate online for sure. I've been a creator for a few years now. I've received as much hate as a person possibly can online. But luckily, when people recognize me in public, I've gotten nothing but people who are happy to see me so far, knock on wood. But let me tell you, I'm not even gonna like try and act tough right now. If someone came up to me and they were like, are you the Dadvocate? And I was like, oh my God, yes. And they were like, fuck you, and threw a drink in my face, I would probably cry. I would probably cry. That would be way more devastating than someone calling me Sid from Ice Age online. Like, I can just ignore that. But like getting seen and targeted online, or I mean offline, like in person, would have me shook, dude. Absolutely shook. He continues, last year I had people drive around my house, throw various items at my place like pizza, bottles, can, even found a bullet casing once. No, because I would be shitting bricks, dude. You understand? You can't. It's people can't just move. When you make threats against their lives, they can't like just move out at the drop of a hat like that either. Like, so now they just have to, this person just has to live with crippling anxiety. Dude, if I so much as, I watched the Charles Manson documentary and I was up all night with anxiety and I couldn't sleep. And that was a movie that had a crime long ago and I still couldn't sleep. Okay, you're telling me that people are literally throwing glass at my house where my poor innocent puppy could step? Dude, this is the worst. My parents live half an hour away from me in a quiet residential neighborhood, and people have pulled up in cars shining a flashlight at their home. People have showed up at his parents' house, laying on the horn and revving their engines. What the hell? This is a cult. I've been terrified to tell my entire story because I don't know who I should turn to and trust. I'm past the point of therapy, and I pray every day that it will stop. For what? Because you think he might be a cheater? Even if he was, he wouldn't deserve this, and his parents certainly wouldn't. Oh my God. He says, I do have the names and have filed a report with police, but they told me I need some hard evidence like phone calls, texts, emails, and Facebook messages. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to start setting up like any kind of security camera that he can at this point and start building his case, but what if it's too late? What if by the time they figure out, okay, yeah, people really are starting an entire harassment campaign against him? You know, like, what if this turns into those Australian murder groups that think they're targeting PDF files, but because they're just so lost and aren't conducting thorough and proper investigations, they often end up just taking out innocent people? How long until it turns into one of those groups where people go into it nobly saying, yeah, we're going to publicly intimidate cheaters to make them feel bad for cheating, but then you start running out of victims but not running out of steam, so you just start making people up. Anybody you can possibly even think might be a cheater, you're harassing them. How long until that starts happening? You know? Now we think that one's bad, right? Now take a look at what else I found. Okay? Let me make this fully visible to y'all. I've got us an article posted from Virginia's local news, WTVR.com, that reads, the Virginia wife arrested for killing her husband appeared on the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook page. Virginia Beach police say 30-year-old Christina Wang is charged with second-degree murder and use of a firearm in the commission of a felony in the shooting death of her husband. She is being held at the Virginia Beach City Jail without bond. Police were called to the 5,000 block Bardeth Circle on Monday, July 17th, where they found 37-year-old Calvin Wang dead from apparent gunshot wounds. Online court documents show the offense date was Saturday, July 15th. A spokesperson for the Virginia Beach Police Department confirmed from the investigations, detectives determined the day of death to be July 15th. In a bail determination document from the Juvenile and Domestic Relations District Court of Virginia Beach, it states that the couple got into an argument. Christina slapped Calvin, he told her to leave, and she pulled out a gun and shot him in the stomach and then the head. It also claims that she admits to this and states the whole incident was caught on video. Documents show that the couple has been married since 2016, have a son, and filed for divorce in 2022. Well, that son is gonna need quite a lot of therapy. Talk about guys who are gonna be staying out of the dating pool. Your own son, to start with. A complaint filed by Calvin Wang's attorney in relation to the pending divorce claims that Christina committed adultery. How many times do I tell y'all the guilty dog barks the loudest? No wonder you're checking all these groups and accusing your husband when you just expect everybody to act the way that you're acting. Isn't that so classic? I even tell people it's a red flag when someone is like consistently accusing you of something. They're projecting. It's all a projection because that is what they're doing, dude. You're telling me you're going off getting some side pieces? Do we even know that the son is his? That's going to be the next thing to figure out. Get a paternity test, Wang Jr. Okay? You may not even be a Wang at the end of the day, quite frankly. Thus, plaintiff cannot wait. A plea document from Christina's attorney states plaintiff has condoned defendant's adulterous acts, and thus plaintiff cannot use adultery as a ground for divorce. What? I have no idea what that even means. This must be a fault state, but apparently they're saying like, oh, well, we've condoned it, so you can't use it. What are you talking about? Just a couple of days before Calvin Wang's death, there was a post showing Christina Wang's name on a social media page called Are We Dating the Same Guy? The post warned others that Calvin was married. Damn, she's out like trying to preemptively cockblock Calvin because she's like, look, I know how easy it is to get a side piece, to get some side eggplant. Okay, and I definitely am gonna have to sabotage any attempt he might be doing to do the same exact thing I'm doing. Wow. It's heartbreaking to hear things like this, especially knowing there are resources and there are ways that this could have been avoided, Olivia Smithberger, executive director for the Her Shelter, said. Seeing these things every day, it's just important to let people know what's available and how to reach out. Right, but whose side are you on, Olivia? Because you're talking about the Her Shelter. Are you saying that she should have gone to a shelter? What? Because you understand there aren't even places that he could have gone to hide, right? You don't provide him with one. Only women are allowed. What? You're like, she should have used our free resources. She should have gotten free housing. That's wild. She could have even brought her side piece with her. It's unclear whether there was a previous domestic violence of any kind in the specific case, but CEO of YWCA of Southampton Roads, Michelle Ellis Young, said they're seeing an increase in domestic violence during the summertime. Okay. I don't think it was the summer vibes that had this wife acting crazy, though. Wow. I guess that's that on that, and it's I don't know whatever happened to that case. Maybe I can even find out for you. What happened to Christina Wang murder trial? This was posted in 2024. It moved to a grand jury. I think it's still ongoing. But it seems that she didn't testify. So I do not think that she has been convicted yet. So I guess allegedly shot her husband in the stomach and head and then admitted to it. Oof. Wow. Okay, so we are still waiting on the long arm of justice for that one, but wow. And the thing is, one thing that I really want to point out here too is this is an additional point of harm from these groups. Because obviously in that situation, the majority of Christina's insecurities were likely coming from a place of her own guilt. She knew what she herself was capable of, and so she inherently believed that her husband was also probably doing the same thing. She was just projecting onto him. But within these groups, so one huge thing that I see all the time is a person will simply post a guy, and without any evidence or any signs that he is talking to anybody else, someone will go, oh, well, he really seems like the type, or oh, well, he's a firefighter, oh, he's a cop, and you know how they all cheat, and stuff like that, that they just encourage this sense of paranoia. It's like schizophrenia is just like spreading within this group like an STD. People are not encouraging each other to be reasonable in these groups. They are encouraging a lot. It wouldn't surprise me if some of the responses on Christina's post saying everybody beware, this guy's married, if people were saying things like, oh yeah, he looks like a guy I saw on Hinge, or the types of typical things that people will respond to, and it added on to her paranoia and led to her completely snapping. These are the unintended but painful consequences of these groups. Now, there also has been a lawsuit. This, unfortunately, is also still ongoing, but I'll share the info about that one too. But back in March of 2024, sorry about that. Woman sued for defamation after sharing alleged dating misconduct on social media. A group of local women may have to defend themselves in court after they took to social media to warn other women about a potential suitor. Stuart Lucas Murray is suing 12 women for defamation, sex-based discrimination, and invasion of privacy after they posted about him in the Are We Dating the Same Guy group on Facebook. In 2021, Olivia Berger went on a date with Murray after connecting with him online. She says she didn't give the encounter much thought until stumbling upon a post in the Facebook group which included photos of Murray, asking members to share any encounters they may have had with him. Berger recounted her unique and unpleasant experience in her response. I want to emphasize that I had never had a date like this, ever, Berger said. Prior to Berger's interaction with Murray, Vanessa Valdez, who had come across him on a dating application, also contributed to the discussion. She expressed concern over Murray's continued presence on dating platforms after experiencing what she described as harassment. In her post, Valdez shared disturbing messages Murray sent to her, calling her a moron and writing, "It's fun watching you burn." She responded saying that he should stay away from women and get help before reporting him to the dating app. Okay, this is going to be an interesting case because if she gets in trouble for sharing text messages that were sent to her and talking about who sent them, then anybody who shares their text messages and talks about their experiences could potentially face legal ramifications. So I will say, I don't necessarily think that that's illegal. So this is where it's going to be kind of tricky. If she made up the text messages, that would be very illegal. But if she's just sharing text messages that he sent, I mean, to a degree, the truth should not hurt you, brother. Maybe not. If you're not clicking with a woman, just unmatch. Maybe don't call them names. Otherwise, you're going to end up on those By Felipe or whatever pages where people just post their Tinder nightmare stories. That's so classic. Which kind of goes into the next question here. Can you be sued for comments made on social media? Defamation attorney Jeff Lewis said anyone can sue another person for what is said online, but it doesn't mean they'll win. The best way to avoid being sued for what you say on the internet is to say things that are true or that are opinion. But if you step outside the truth or opinion, there's a good chance you may get sued if something is negative, Lewis said. Murray's lawsuit contests the women's narratives, citing claims he deems defamatory, such as allegations of involvement in his ex-wife's murder and having sexually transmitted diseases, which Berger and Valdez deny making or seeing. Okay, interesting. This is where the burden of proof is going to be pretty heavy, because here's the thing. If you come into one of these groups that has a person's name, age, job, location, and photograph, and you start saying, yeah, he killed his ex-wife, definitely suable. You can definitely be sued. If you go into a forum, public or private, and make claims that a person has an STD, yes, you can be sued. This is something that we're seeing in the Other Woman and the Wife affair coaching business run by Chelsea Smallwood that's currently in the middle of a suit right now. is people within that group were targeting betrayed spouses and making claims about them having STDs, which is a really weird thing to brag about, because if you're sleeping with the same guy, you're saying you also have those STDs because you're proud to be in a melting pot, apparently. But yeah, the people were in those groups allegedly doing this, though I have reason to believe that these betrayed wives are fully telling the truth. Okay? And so Chelsea now has to go to court and basically defend herself for allowing and constructing and curating a community that just openly gossips about people who are identifiable. These are all cases, like, I think even Chelsea's case might end up setting quite a precedent for future Are We Dating the Same Guy groups. Because when it comes to this affair community that's being sued, and I do plan on making another follow-up about all the updates with that coming soon, Chelsea is trying to contend that, oh, well, we're a private group, so what we do in here should be allowed to remain private. And the betrayed spouse who's suing her is like, you actually aren't allowed to post pictures of me and my children and identifying information while spreading complete lies about me, actually, and bragging about the crimes of stalking and harassment you've committed against me. Like, you actually aren't allowed to do that. And so I'm really hoping that this case actually does set a precedent for future Are We Dating the Same Guy groups. But it's also important to note that if he can't prove that those comments were actually made, or worse, if he's lying and exaggerating to make his case more bolstered, then he would deserve to face ramifications for lying in court. Absolutely. Lewis believes the case will make it to court, saying it will go before a jury if it does not settle. Berger and Valdez say that without representation or a lot of expendable income, they worry this could bankrupt them. In a statement to KCAL News, Murray said that he has never met or dated some of the women posting about him and accuses them of catfishing him, saying they posted highly filtered and enhanced photos on their dating profiles, concluding perhaps these women are not successful in dating for obvious reasons. Okay. I don't know fully if I side with this guy or not. It sounds like one of his biggest arguments is that, well, if it's true that he didn't actually date these women, but they're posting things about him anyway, then he has a case. But if his argument is that he didn't actually date them because they posted a picture that was different from the person that he saw in real life, and that they're all just mad because they're ugly, then I don't think he has a very strong case. But in January, a similar lawsuit was filed in Chicago by a man who was also the subject of a post in the same Facebook group. The group's moderator has created a fundraiser to help victims being sued. The women here in LA say she has not offered to help them. Let's read more about that. Chicago man sues over disparaging post on Facebook group about dating. A Chicago man is suing after his name and photo were included in a disparaging post on a popular Facebook group called Are We Dating the Same Guy? There are several Facebook Are We Dating the Same Guy groups, including one that is local to Chicago, Naperville, Elgin. Nico D'Ambrosio said the Facebook group's local chapter has ruined his reputation, and he is hoping a new Illinois law will help. Oh, so we might be starting some laws here too. Filed Monday in U.S. District Court in Chicago, D'Ambrosio's lawsuit names dozens of women, one defendant male's relative, and several tech companies after posts started circulating in the Facebook group with his name, photo, and harassing text messages he reportedly sent to women. Many of the defendants in this lawsuit are moderators of the Facebook page, though one woman told us she is not sure if she's listed on the Chicago chapter and says she is no longer active in these groups. That's convenient. D'Ambrosio's attorneys liken his reputation now to a digital scarlet letter. They want Facebook and Meta to intervene and provide strict moderation. Quote, we've been working on this for several months. We've tried everything but sue these people. We tried sending them registered letters, sending them cease and desist letters, to no avail, said attorney Daniel Nikolic. And ultimately we had to take this recourse because our hand was forced and it wouldn't take down this post. D'Ambrosio's attorneys deny their client sent the messages and added that even if he did, the content would be protected under the First Amendment as free speech. Well, I mean, sure, it's free. Like, here's the problem is there's free speech, but there's not exactly freedom of consequences. So if you send harassing text messages, like if you DM me with something ridiculous, like, you're not a real advocate, you're a piece of and I hope you die, and I post that, I'm allowed to post that you sent that to me. You typed it with your own fingers. I'm allowed to screenshot it and post it. But if they used a text message generator to create false text messages to disparage this man, then yeah, they're gonna go down in court over that, quite frankly. However, free speech is the very issue that CBS2 legal analyst Irv Miller pointed out might be a problem for D'Ambrosio. It's not unusual for parties who feel they are wronged to file a lawsuit. That's what the whole system is about, Miller said. So the fact that they're taking this particular level is unique. It's interesting, and it'll be complicated. D'Ambrosio's attorney hope a new Illinois anti-doxing law, which went into effect January 1st, could bolster the case, which they see as the first of its kind. The attorneys are now fielding hundreds of calls from other men who have seen their personal information attached to similar forums. Our client is a victim. He's a victim on this matter, said plaintiff's attorney Mark Trent, and we want to stop from there being additional victims in the future. We reached out to Facebook for comment on the suit, but have not heard back. His first hearing is scheduled for March 11th, 9 a.m. I wonder if there's been a follow-up to this one. Let me take a look at this. Nico D'Ambrosio case updates. That was the last one. Let's see. I think I'm going to have to narrow this down. Chicago. Oh boy, I hope this isn't him convicted of making false statements in his personal taxes. Oh man, it is! Wow! What an update. Oh no, tried suing women, ends up a fraud himself. Okay, so I've reached my article limit. F you. Okay, let me find a different one. Oh no, Nico. We were rooting for you to help us out with the other victims. What have you done? He's not the most sophisticated human being. Man who sued women for trash talking him on Facebook, sentenced for tax fraud. These are some of the comments it looks like. We met organically in Chicago 2.5 months ago. Very clingy, very fast. Flaunted money very awkwardly and kept talking about how I don't want to see his bad side, especially when he was on business calls. He came to see me yesterday. After I blocked his number, he texted me on another one, which is the other text screenshot. Yeah, I don't see anything illegal going on so far. Oh no, buddy. It's like, do you know how hard it is to actually, like, be investigated for tax fraud? Like, old buddy was really lying for real, because I want to say it's like far less than 1% of people are even investigated or even audited. And like the highest population of people to be audited are people who claim like $0 a year. Those are the most likely to be audited. But people making like any income whatsoever, it's like a 0.5% chance you'll be audited. So the fact that you were like audited and you still couldn't like scramble to come up with something to get you out of your audit, they were able to conclusively prove that you were outright lying and committing tax fraud. It's pretty bad. Like, you have to be doing some bullshit for that. Christina, thank you so much for another 20. Oh my god. It's really easy to commit tax fraud, you think? I mean, yeah, the tax system is convoluted for sure, but like, it seems as though he was busted straight up lying. Like, this isn't a situation where, like, me, for example, I'll get like 4 separate 1099s from Meta alone because they issue like, one is for this bonus and one is for this bonus. And sometimes, like, I've gotten forms from Meta that are as low as like $10.99 for the entire year. And like, if I forget to file something like that, It could happen. Do I think that I'm gonna get like audited and put in federal prison for that? No. Like we're talking like you're trying to shave off like thousands of dollars, dude. You know what I mean? Like you're really trying to get away with some at this point. A Chicago man who filed a defamation lawsuit against dozens of women he accused of trash talking him in an Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook chat group has been sentenced to prison for tax fraud. Nico D'Ambrosio, 32, learned his fate this week. He was convicted in January of 2 counts of false statements on his tax forms for 2020 and 2021. He claimed expenses and deductions for charitable donations to a church that had no record of him being a registered parishioner. Not lying about donating to Jesus. He also claimed meals and mileage for his work as an installer of electronic sweepstakes kiosks at gas stations, and later lying to an IRS agent when he said his tax forms were correct and he had wined and dined business owners in connection with his work. Oh my god, how much you want to bet that all these dates that the women that claim that he was bragging about how much money he has was him being like, oh, don't worry, I got money, I got money. Your tax dollars, bitch. Oh no. The miles you said you drove would have allowed you to drive to the moon and back. Judge Thomas Durkin told him before handing down the 1-year sentence. And you lied badly. You doubled down. Okay, so I am starting to think that he probably did lie about the things he claimed about that he was not able to produce proof for, quite frankly. And this really sucks too, because what this means is that when the first case that ever goes to court trying to use a brand new law ends up connected to someone who's a known fraudster, it takes away from the credibility of the whole movement, and that's such a pain in the ass. Like, this dude is just as bad as women who make false claims. He was just pissed that the truth of his like nasty text messages got out. He got pissed that women were like outing him for being a weirdo, which a lot of people are. But man, you were not the one who needed to start the class action lawsuit. It should not have been you. There are people who have actually been lied about, man. He says that he's apologized. I've established myself as a good family man. He said, I do go to church. I'm loyal to my faith. How much you tithing, brother? Better be more than 10% at this point. What if D'Ambrosio's attorney said the case wasn't about greed, it's about stupidity? Oh, that's better. That's a lot better. I don't mean this to disparage Nico in any way, but as you can see from his educational records, he is not the most sophisticated human being. Oh no. Somebody with his skill set is not doing his own taxes, and nor should he be, frankly. You go to a professional, and the professional he relied upon was his cousin. Prosecutors called that hogwash. This isn't a whodunit mystery. This isn't the usual suspects with Kaiser Soze and a dropped mug. The defendant had 119,000 reasons to lie. D'Ambrosio filed a lawsuit in January against Facebook and individuals who refused to remove what he said was defamatory information on the social media. The lawsuit alleged that 50 women made false and defamatory statements about him in an online group that claims to have more than 3 million registered users. Okay. Sorry, Sorry, let me blow my nose. I'm muted instead of using the BRB screen. Sorry, let me just blow my nose real quick. But okay, I call bullshit because the original Facebook group. Sorry, I did it again. I call bullshit because the original Facebook group of Are We Dating the Same Guy doesn't even have 500,000 people in it. So I don't understand where he's finding this group that allegedly has 3 million. And he subpoenaed successfully 12 women, which if he was trying to subpoena every single woman who even liked the interaction or commented, maybe that's the only people that he was able to find who were subpoenaable. But 50, you're saying 50 women all came forward and lied about you? Come on, man. Like, you were not... We didn't send our best soldiers on this one. The group Are We Dating the Same Guy is a collection of red flag awareness groups all across the country where women can empower each other and keep each other safe from toxic men, court documents said. That's up to interpretation. It is a place where women can anonymously dox, defame, and attack the moral character of men they've met online, court documents also said. That's a more accurate definition. One of the defendants, who met D'Ambrosio at a cultural event in Chicago in 2023, had sex with him on the night they met and spent time together a handful of times later, which were described as unremarkable, the lawsuit said. Yikes. The woman was accused of publishing provably false and defamatory statements about D'Ambrosio and a photo of him on the Chicago Facebook group's page. The post was taken down and republished anonymously. Others describe him as clingy and a ghoster. Okay, so far I haven't seen anything that could really be, like, proven to be false. Someone calling you clingy is an opinion. Someone calling you a ghoster is an opinion. Like, people are allowed to have those opinions, though. That's why this was not very strong. And the only other evidence I'm seeing here is, like, he flashes his money. That's opinion. How can you even disprove that? Oh, fuck. What? Who sent him? Who sent this guy to represent us? We didn't send our best. So, I did get a partial update as we wrap up this stream as to, you know, is anybody actually doing anything about this? Are we starting to see any positives in the right direction of, you know, is anybody actually taking moves beyond this lawsuit to at least intimidate the mods a little bit into cracking down? And I found this. Someone posted, "Sis, are we dating the same guy? Facebook groups paused as admins fear legal risks." So at least for some brief time in Australia, online groups where women post screenshots of men they've met on dating apps are being abruptly paused or closed down after an Australian defamation case involving a page administrator of a surrogacy group came to fame. Sydney father Andy Leonard, 45, says he racked up more than $20,000 in legal fees defending a matter in the federal court over a comment that was left on the group page he ran on Facebook in 2023. The matter was earlier this year resolved out of court, but the Australia arm of the groups, titled "Sis, Are We Dating the Same Guy?" have stopped accepting new posts after becoming aware of the case. Ladies, unfortunately, I should say, quote, "Ladies, unfortunately, due to the recent changes to Australians' defamation laws, we are pausing all pages." An administrator posted on several of the Sis Are We Dating the Same Guy groups last week. Administrator of Sis Is This Your Man Australia group told more than 20,000 members the case was not the only occurrence. "There is a massive misconception that defamation is unobtainable, and with the new reforms, this is no longer the case," an administrator wrote. "We have told members numerous times that commenting libel can get you into a lot of trouble, and us. Revenge posting is spiking by women who have AVOs, apprehended violence orders, against them. Snitching is on the rise, lying about men to tarnish their reputation, meddling in relationships out of spite, using inaccurate screenshots, slander, and libel mentioned in posts and comments." This is from the horse's mouth themselves. This is directly from the moderators. They're straight up saying women with PPOs are spite posting, and we know about it. Holy sh... So it looks like, at least for a brief time, Australian groups are paused. Now, I did find this group in Australia that still has 17,000 members, but it does not seem to be active because there's been no members in the last week and no posts in the last month. So I will say Australia might be the first domino in shutting all this down. Now, it's not very common that a precedent Australian case does much to influence or define US law, but it's a start. It's definitely an optimistic point to tag on to as we start wrapping up the stream for today, is that if you start Googling, are we dating the same guy? If you simply type it into a search bar that is not Facebook groups themselves, you're going to see a lot of criticism. You're going to see a lot of backlash, and you will see that a lot of people are opposed to these groups. And the start of Australian groups becoming shut down was only 5 months ago, and it seems to still be pretty consistent. It seems as though the groups have remained shut down, are not accepting new members in Australia, and you guys successfully scared the Australians. So good for you. Not much scares Australians, considering they live with like snakes and bugs the size of your face on like a daily regular occurrence. So the fact that y'all scared Australians into actually doing something makes me very proud. Now we just have to keep that energy a bit more maintained. Okay. Man, I guess as like a final point, because like I said, we do have to start wrapping it up here a little bit. I might be able to Google those people that he told me to Google. I wrote their names down somewhere. Where did I put them? Here they go. I at least remembered to write down Garbo and Callister. So I'll write that down. But I found this post that I found a bit ironic. This was a post from the creator, Paula, what's her name? Paula Sanchez? Is that her name? Hold up. I lost it. I want to say it's Paulo Sanchez, but I have to make sure that I am correct. Yes, Paula Sanchez. This was a direct quote from her website that I found pretty funny, where she says, I would state where I'm from, but ever since I had a rock thrown through a window at my family's home by a man who wanted to stop our efforts to empower women, I've had to keep a low profile due to threats of harassment and violence against me. You mean like what hundreds to thousands of men have had to deal with because of your complete lack of moderation within these female empowerment groups? It's funny how we rightfully shut down any men's groups that claim to be empowering men when their main focus is on like shit talking women and hating women together. We rightfully condemn those. But when a women's empowerment group seems to primarily focus on denigrating and ruining the lives of men, why do we not have that same energy again? She goes on to say, I even had to start paying for a service to wipe my personal information off the internet. So you mean like what you made hundreds to thousands of men have to do, Paula? You mean like that? Despite the adversity, it's been amazing to see these groups helping so many women stay safe. She's so delusional. Like, even when getting slapped in the face by her own consequences, she still does not recognize the harm that she's causing. She literally received the karma and didn't even register it. Just like blitzkrieged through the delusion past the hand-delivered karma, past the giant sign that said, here, you are here, and the consequences of your own actions, and just went, I'm gonna keep going though. Oh no. Okay, let me Google what person 65 was trying to tell me to Google, which was, before we go, Garbo and Callister. Also, let me check a message from my... Oh, cool. Okay, my contractor wants to come by earlier, so I do have to wrap this up. Sorry, I'm renovating the house at the moment, getting done. Protect the Rep also has resources and a website. Visit us if you need help or want to share your story. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think I might have your page pulled up here. Okay, I'm gonna give you a criticism on it though. A gentle one, a loving one. I was gonna show off this page. My issue is that this text is really difficult to read. I wanted to go into stories to read these, but like, we got to change the text, fellas. I'm so sorry. I find this a very challenging to read. Is that just a me problem? Is anybody else having the same issue? But yeah, protecttherep.com, dedicated to exposing the hidden dangers of Are We Dating the Same Guy? They do have resources. They are helping survivors. These are all their socials. Definitely check it out. I think that might just be a personal thing. I am Protect the Rep legally blind, so this could just exclusively be a me issue, but I will still let everybody know where to find you guys, which is here. And then what did I get when Garbo and, is it Callisto? Let me see here. Where did I write down my, oh, Garbo and Callister? The story behind Britain's greatest double cross agents? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I don't know what Garbo and Callister is. I'm going to double check my emails and see your list that you wanted me to look at and see if it's in there before I go. Protect the Rep, we covered that. Covered the Reddit. Plastering people. Let me see here. What is this? Just to pick me here for some male approval. I get that you guys are mad and want to vent, but so are the women in these groups. For many, a violation of your privacy is totally worth it if it stops them from getting RIPED, beaten, lied to, or cheated on again. Women are more likely than men to experience intimate partner violence, and survivors of serious trauma often repeat their patterns. It's tempting and less challenging to stay in an echo chamber. Can we figure out a space to have this conversation together? I'm very willing to improve the system that we have. However, I don't want any sort of crowdsourced private individual database at all. What a perfect way of phrasing it. That's exactly the issue. It's a crowdsourced private individual database. And that's kind of the issue. If I had to suggest a method that could actually possibly work, it would be the groups that actually are intensely moderated, where they only use like initials to check and warn each other, and like are very vague with things, perhaps would be a start. Because, you know, women have been warning each other about people since the dawn of time, and they have a right to. But it's the fact that I don't think that we have the ability to properly moderate these databases like these. It failed with Lulu. It failed in Australia. And I think it's going to continue to lead to a lot of lawsuits here in America too. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, person 65. I don't know what else we were talking about here, but I think we seemed to cover most of it. I think that we got the groundwork pretty laid out here for all of the harm that these groups cause. Like I said, these groups are causing slander, libel, encouraging stalking, encouraging harassment, encouraging, what's the word I'm looking for? When you have parasocial, encouraging parasocial relationships and parasocial loyalties that are not in place, right? Like, we do not have people joining who are even in relationships. We have incel women trying to stalk men. We have scorned lovers and the chronically unpicked trying to ruin relationships because they themselves can't be happy. And worse than that, we have men going broke and bankrupt trying to defend themselves from it. We have men whose mental health is suffering to the point that they are considering taking themselves out of this world. And we have men literally being murdered. It's definitely time to start protesting against these groups in large amounts. I think that a start would be women joining these groups. I think that it needs to be women fighting the women. We need to be getting in these groups and calling out every single post that we see that is messed up and just challenging it, even if it means what a still to be frozen at. I'm really gonna have to change my battery for the last 5 minutes of the stream, I guess. That's what I get for yapping too much. Alright. Let's fix that real quick. But even if it means us getting banned, like, we have to go in and protest against these groups. We have to look into any local laws that we might have. If you're interested in political action, it might be worth talking to your state reps and legislators and seeing if maybe we can start writing in a bill. I would start with looking at, where was it, the Illinois law over in Chicago apparently passed something new in defamation that they were planning on using. Dude, fuck Nico for ruining that initially for us, but also, at the very least, thank you for telling us a good place to start. Because other states, basically like foundations of laws, are frequently used in spreading around. That's what we've been doing with equal shared parenting laws. Is it kind of started with Arkansas and Missouri passing really great equal shared parenting laws that we're now able to recommend to multiple states. We plan on introducing them to all 50 states by the end of 2025. We've got people right now, as we speak, in the White House communicating with DOJ, presenting equal shared parenting legislation because of the 5 states that managed to pass it. So these things, we can take care of them. We can make Are We Dating the Same Guy groups afraid again, okay? What Australia did, we can do it. If the Australians can do it, we can make them scared too. Okay? Alright. I told my contractor he can come by a little bit earlier, so I actually have to start getting going so that I can start working on my house again. But alright. Did I miss any super chats? Yes, I did. Protect the Rep, thank you so much. We also have a Reddit community called Protect the Rep with tons of videos on spreading awareness. So everybody go check that out. To Wodro, advice to deal with insecurity about long distance situations from my mom. Stop. Just, here's my advice to you, Wodros. Whatever advice your mom gives you, do the opposite of it. Like I said, your mom is a deeply traumatized, insecure woman who has clearly been hurt so freaking bad by men that she is determined to make sure that men are just as hurt as she feels inside. And I kind of feel bad for her a little bit for it, but dude, that's for her to deal with. You gotta stop letting her have any power over you. I know that she's your mom, so that's easier said than done, but long distance situations work, man. Me and TJ were long distance for our first year that we dated. It was great. We did a thumb kiss for New Year's through an app instead of in person. Very cute, man. Now look at us. 10 years. Haven't killed each other yet. Haven't posted each other to Are We Dating the Same Guy yet. But yeah, dude, we're gonna wrap it up here. Any final thoughts? I'm gonna do one quick cursory view, but definitely check out these subreddits. Definitely check out Protect the Rep and do your part. If you're not a woman, today's the day to create an alt account and pretend to be a woman so that you can start speaking out against these groups. Who's meowing? You guys get some cat tax. What is it? Who's meowing? You guys heard that, right? I'm not crazy. Well, now there's no cat. Dang it. I wanted to bring you guys cat tax, but apparently they just meow and ghost. Hashtag ghoster. Uh-oh, my cat's gonna sue me for slander now. Oh man, you just got here, Bree. We were about to leave. But go rewatch the stream. It's a short one today. I know sometimes I stream for a long time. But listen, I will be back tomorrow. And tomorrow, damn, I already forgot the stream. I was so invested in today's. I was like creating an itinerary. Gonna show you stuff. Oh, chalk. Hold on. Cat provided. We did it. We found a cat for the cat tax. It was worth it in the end. Look at this boy. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's a Chongo-chan. Are we petting the same guy? We could. Look at what an absolute joy and delight this is. What a good guy. I would post you to every group, Mochi. And no one would be allowed to post any red flags. And the only T would be is a heckin' chonk. Boop. He does not like nose boops. I'm sorry. I really risked it for the biscuit just for you. Oh my goodness. Can we just like really appreciate this level of chonk? Like, this is crazy. How does one chonk get so chonky? Look at you. Look at your chonko-chan. Him sit. Oh, him purr. He's so happy purring to the microphone. I have never had a cat that allows me to do this, and I still don't understand why he allows this. But, like, I knew that I was going to adopt him because we went to a feral rescue, and my daughter just, like, picked him up and just straight up carried him like a baby. And I was like, okay, that's the cat we're going to adopt, because if he'll tolerate that, he'll probably tolerate anything. And he has ever since. Haven't you, Mocherton? And he's done. Thank you for playing along, though. I'm covered in hair, dude. Oh, man. Okay. If you want me to cover more stuff on the stream, if there's anything regarding these communities, the situations, or any like lawsuits or stories about them that I missed, please email me at lauren@dadvocate.net. We might do a follow-up, but I know I've covered these groups kind of in passing and talked a little bit more about them there. This one, I felt like it deserved its whole consolidated look at this. What the so I'm also going to it's a little bit late for me to tell you this now because by the time you're here you've already watched the whole stream, but this will be chopped up into a smaller version. But for those of you who are hoping to spread the message, don't worry, I will make a smaller video so it'll be a lot easier to consume and therefore spread the message a little bit better that way. Also, final plug, last month till the end of the month, Patreon is 25% off with code IRISH. Code IRISH. Go to Patreon. It so helps to have that extra support. Same with YouTube membership, but I don't know if we can do discounts on YouTube membership yet. If we can, email me at lauren@dadvocate.net and I'll do a discount for next month. We'll have a YouTube membership month of a discount. But Doom for Zombie says, hello all you people, I shall be watching VOD now. Yeah, it's the time to watch it, because I'm about to head on out of here. But, okay guys, this stream has been amazing, hopefully educational, hopefully insightful, hopefully has lit a fire under your ass to start taking down these communities one by one, like Australia did. The great country of Australia. Shout out Australia! The stream goes out to